welcome to Marie+One. I'm Marie, and today's plus one is Aritza Valles. Hi, Aritza. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy to have you with us today. With me.
I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
Of course. It's been a while since we started to, talk and trying to, match our schedules, but here we are today. So I wanted to ask you if you wanted to introduce yourself in a few words and let us know who you are.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Aritza, and most people know me as Ari or Aritza Valles, and I work with my family's restaurants, which are Lindo Mexico. And that's basically how I would describe that most people know me. There's a lot more to me, but most people know me through Lindo Mexico.
Mm-mm. And that's what I'm hoping that we're going to dig into today. Kind of like, because it's funny, same as Josh, you are first a friend of my husband, Joshua. And I feel like I know you. Same as for Josh. At home, when we talk about you, it's always, oh, Ari. And so that's why at first when I texted you or messaged you, I was, writing, hey, Ari. And then I was like, but maybe I should just say Aritz. And so, because it's so weird how sometimes you feel familiar with someone because you heard about them so much. And then talking to them, it's different. It's like, hey, actually, I just realized we don't really know each other. So my first question would be, you're an only child.
Yeah.
How would you describe your childhood, and how would you say that being an only child made you like who you are today?
Well, I think I had a really good childhood. For the longest time, my cousin, who is basically my sister, was also an only child. And then when we were 13, my auntie got pregnant and she stopped being an only child. They also own another restaurant. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's El Viva Mexico. And it's so good. It's in Wyoming, close to Central. Mm-hmm. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But mm-hmm. For a while, it was great. I grew up with my cousins from my mom's side of the family, and we were super close. We were always with my grandma, and I don't think it was difficult, honestly. I had a lot of my parents' attention, and I think being an only child really allowed them to dedicate their time and energy to me, and they just really focused on me being like really good at my like schooling and sports and everything. I think as I grew up, when I was like around like 20 or 21 is when I started feeling more pressure being an only child, because not pressure, but I guess that's when I decided I wanted to take over the restaurants. Mm-hmm. I was almost done with my bachelor's at UNM, and I decided I was like maybe 3 years into the School of Engineering that I didn't want to do engineering or construction anymore. And so I was like, well, I might as well finish this degree because I've already worked like 75% for it. So I went ahead and finished it. And then I went and got my MBA at UNM. And so when I decided that I wanted to take over the restaurants, that's when I was like, shoot, it would have been really nice to have like a sibling, a sister or a brother, because everything was kind of falling on me because I decided that I did want this. So I was just trying to make the best out of everything, like all the operations, make them better, hire more, expand more, grow. And like when I decided that I was going to get involved in the operations, I told my parents, there's a lot of things that I'm going to do very different from you guys. So I started from scratch, basically. Like they had a good system in place, but I had to figure out a way to make that be able to duplicate it into different concepts, different restaurants. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, well, if I had a brother or a sister, I could delegate some work, or we could work on this together. And so at first it was hard, but now that I'm like growing older and stuff, like now I'm like, well, my kids only have aunties from my husband's side of the family. Yes, I see. And so that's really like their only cousins. They're only from his side of the family, which my husband has 3 older sisters. And so, I mean, I see them and they're from like a bigger family. My husband's the youngest and the only guy in the lineup. So it's nice, but I wish that my kids also had cousins and uncles and maybe aunties from my side. So, but I've gotten used to it. I'm like, it's fine. I'm an only child. And I think also that's like what makes me more unique is that I decided to do all of this alone because my parents don't speak English. very well. Like they speak it very well, but never to a level where they could better their operations or do a lot more with the restaurant because of those limitations. And they also didn't go to school, so they don't have like that experience with like computers or anything like that. And there's a lot of people that approached them in the past that were like, we can help you make a national brand or make you a franchise or all of this. But because of their limitations with the language, they were like, no, we can't trust this. Like, we can't trust that whatever you're going to make a sign or whatever you're bringing to us is really what you're saying. So when that was happening, that was like about 22 years old. And I told my dad, I'm like, I think you just need to wait for me to be ready to come into the restaurants, and I will be able to do it. Like I can really help take it to another level and help expand it. And when I came into the restaurants, it was about 40 employees. And I still remember because my mom was doing payroll like by hand.
Oh, wow.
For 40 employees. Yeah. She was calculating hours. And I was like, you can hand me the payroll. And then she's like, okay. And she started showing me. And I was like, you do this per week? Like just like this? And then she's like, yeah. And I thought in my head, this is crazy. Like, I'm not doing this. And within a month, I implemented a payroll system, a scheduling system, like time clocking. And within about a year and a half, we grew to 80 employees. And then we opened our second location. And that's why we're growing too, because we were training employees and we were going to divide them. But right now, we're about 112 employees between both locations. Yeah. Each location holds about 60 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
It is. It's so fascinating. I mean, you know, I'm drinking your words. I don't know if that's an English expression. I think, I mean, for those of you who listen to Josh's episode, you can tell that I'm not really good with expressions, but you know, that's what makes it fun. I have so many questions. So I wanna dive into the business side of things, but first I want to ask a little bit more questions about you and your family and your parents because, so Aritza, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
Are you like the first generation born here, or were your parents here? And
yes.
I'm so curious about how your parents met and how they started the restaurant and all that. And also, I mean, that's a lot of questions at once, but then I'm interested too into knowing more about, you know, since you said you're a single child and I mean, you had a wonderful childhood, but I wonder if it was always your mom's will to just have one child, or did she ever, I mean, you know, at some point thought, or did you have that conversation with her asking if, you know, why you don't have siblings? Not that it's a requirement in any way, but, you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's a lot of questions, but really good questions. And I feel like people ask me this all the time, but I never have gotten like the actual opportunity to say it in a platform that people can like see it more broadly. But yes, I am the first born child here in the U.S. My parents did come from Mexico. They're from Chihuahua. Nice. I'm saying that even though I was born here in the U.S., I honestly like feel 100% Mexican. Like I'm so proud of our culture and heritage. Like I love everything about it. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about the restaurants, because I really want to keep it as authentic as possible and really make people feel like they're coming into Mexico in an experience. And it makes me so happy when people really say like, we came in to eat and we felt like we were in Guadalajara, or we felt like we were in Mexico. Like, and that's really like the whole purpose of like you coming into the restaurants. So, but yeah, they both met when they were like about, my dad's older than my mom 4 years, and they met in Mexico in Delicias, Chihuahua. And I want to say that my mom was very persistent with my dad, but she was really young. She was like 14 or 15 when she had like met him. And so he was more like 19, you know, like more doing his thing. He was older. And so they had different interests, but it all worked out in the end. So they decided to come here to the U.S. and their plan was my dad's plan was actually just to come work hard and go back to Mexico and start his like agricultural business, because that's what he saw everybody in su rancho, like that's what they did. Yeah. So he was like, I am just going to work hard and do that. My mom got here, and they're both like really business mindset people. Like they've always been very entrepreneurial since they were like super young. And my mom worked here for a little bit in different restaurants, and some of them are not existent anymore. They were like chain restaurants back in like, I'm talking like 30 years ago. So, but when she started working, she started seeing that business, like restaurant business was a really good business. So she told my dad like, hey, we should open a restaurant. My dad was kind of like, no, I don't think I'm into that right now. Like, I really want to be in agriculture. Like, I want to go back and like have my own thing and like plant my tomatoes or something over there in Mexico. So my mom decided to open the restaurant. The first restaurant, El Viva Mexico, was actually opened by my mom and my auntie. Back in the day. It was like, yeah, like 30, 35 years ago, they decided to open it together. And they worked on it for a little bit, and then they decided that it wasn't working out for both of them. So they parted their ways, and my auntie stayed with my uncle, her husband, to work it. And my mom decided to just, she actually like took a break, and she was really sad because she really loved like the restaurant business. And so when that happened, my dad told me that she would cry a lot because like every night, because she felt like, you know, like they took something from her, but it was just kind of more like it wasn't the moment for them to work together. So my dad, being like a good husband, he was like, well, how about we open a restaurant together, you know? And so she was like, really? Like, you'll help me? It's like, yeah, I'll help you. Let's open it. So the first Lindo Mexico location opened on San Pedro and Suni, and that's where it all started. And so it was funny because a really big distribution company called Cisco, my dad worked for them when he worked here. When he got to the U.S., like that was one of his first jobs. And he worked in the warehouse loading the trucks. And that's a hard job because, I mean, you're loading up the trucks for all these restaurants for their orders, literally boxes and cases and everything of produce, anything that you can think of that restaurants need, like he would load them into those trucks. And so I actually just found out by some reps from that company, like last week I had a meeting and they were telling me that my dad would work at the warehouse and then he'd be like, hey, I need this, this, and this. Can you load it into my truck? And they were like, well, first we need to start you off with like a Cisco account before we start doing this. But yeah, let's get you started. So Cisco was the first company that they worked with. And it was funny because now Cisco is the biggest company that we purchased from. And my dad used to work for them. And now my dad has a lot of power to deciding like what he's going to do with the product, what price he's going to pay. And it's just literally, he buys over 40 cases of avocado per week from them. Like, it's just so much that it's just so, like, I just look back and I just think my parents sacrificed and worked so hard. And I just wish that, I don't think there's going to be a day in my life that I'll work as hard as they have. Like, even as hard worker as I am and like how much dedication I have to the restaurant, it's just their sacrifice has been so crazy. Like, for years, they had no days off. Like, they worked Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Like, they were there. So to be able to grow the business to the scale that it is now, it's so, like, they just deserve it so much, you know? And so in this point, when my mom was doing the businesses, like when they were doing the restaurants, I was really little. Like, they literally would take me to the restaurants, to Lindo Mexico and on San Pedro and Suni. And there was like a little office in the back that they had built for me with a bed and a TV and a table. And they allowed me to paint in there, to paint the walls, do whatever I needed to do because I was there with them from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I was like 2 or 3 years old. I did that up until I was like 9 years old. Wow. 10 years old. Like, that was literally my routine. I would get from school, like I would get home from home was Lindo Mexico for me. Like, they would go pick me up from school, bring me to the restaurant. I would eat, I would play, I would be in the kitchen, I would wash dishes. Like, back in the day, they had these Coca-Cola crates. I don't know if you ever saw them, like the bottle Coca-Cola crates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I would like stack them up, like 3 or 4 of them, and start washing dishes. And then if the dishwashers, like all the dishes started to like accumulate, and they were like, oh girl, like, you need to get out so we can start washing. And I'd get mad. My little 7-year-old feisty self was like, nope, I'm not going to move. Like, this is where I'm going to stay and wash the dishes until I get tired. And so I literally learned, like, at 7 years old to peel shrimp. I learned how to cut tomatoes, everything. Like, I was just doing everything in the restaurant. And so when I asked my mom, I was, like, about 10, and I asked her, like, if she was going to have any more kids. I don't think she prioritized having kids because she was so busy with the restaurants. And then she was already like, she had a lot of problems having me. Like, she had 2 miscarriages before me, 2 of them, and then she had 2 after. So then, like, she was going through all, like, opening a business, owning the restaurant, running it, and then having all these fertility problems. Like, I literally think I was like their miracle child because out of their 5 tries, I was the only one that made it. And so she said that when she decided that she did want to fully try and be there and like just have another kid, it was already too late. She felt like it was too late. So it was just, she said that it wasn't meant to be for her to have another kid. But I sometimes think that she would have like wanted more kids. But she says sometimes that I have the personalities of 3 different ones. And my dad says I spend money like 4 of them. So there you go.
Oh, but see, that's so crazy because I mean, before a couple years now, I never heard of like miscarriages. It's almost like something that nobody talks about, like so taboo. And it's only like recently after having my son and that I started to hear people talking about it. Like a lot of women around me have gone through that, and I mean, so far, you know, it hasn't happened to me, and I hope it's not gonna. But it's something that is actually more common than we know, than we think. So thank you for talking about it so openly, because you know, I love, you know, the podcast and the platform because it's also a way to bring awareness, and that I feel like also society sometimes is just like brushing it off, like, you know, you have to move on, but it's a really traumatic experience. And so your mom is I mean, I already knew that she was a strong woman, but I have so like I can't believe that throughout the process of opening a restaurant and working so hard and so many hours and having you, and then going through all that, it's I mean, in French we say chapeau. That means like really like you take your hat off. Like that I have a lot of respect for you and your mom and your whole family, and hearing your story and about how, you know, hardworking you all are. It's insane because even nowadays when you go to Lindo Mexico, you see your parents working. You know, every time I go, we love we love Lindo Mexico a lot. And it's funny because our family, they love El Viva Mexico more. And so we kind of like, we branch out, we go to your family businesses. That's, you know, perfect. But we go probably at least like twice or 3 times a month to Lindo Mexico, and I always see your mom and your dad working every time we go, and so that's really interesting because I mean the business is working so well. You have two locations, but still your parents are there and doing the legwork, you know, helping, and I think that shows a lot about their work ethic and how much they love and they have a passion for, you know, what they do, and the food is delicious.
Thank you.
Everything we try every time we go, it's just amazing. So your mom is, or what is the cook, or was the cook, or implemented the recipes and all that, or how did you guys work the menu?
Yeah, so I think it had like there was a lot of moving parts in that. They all of them had like both my parents didn't have any experience in restaurants, and so when they opened the restaurant, there was a cook that he had like a lot of experience.
Okay.
And so he showed them the basics of it, and they started working with recipes and stuff. But honestly, my parents are such good cooks. Like they are. And like I see my mom's home cooking because she also cooks at home rarely, but she does. When she does, oh my gosh, it's so good. All the traditional like Mexican food that she cooks, it's so amazing. And they're very different in their cooking styles. My dad is very good at commercial cooking.
Okay.
So he's really good at like making recipes for the restaurant, big batches. Yes, what would it look like as cost wise? How would it look for the customer? And my mom's really good at cooking home style meals. And so that's when we really come together and work. And I've learned from both of them how to do both. But they really used family a lot of the time to show them the recipes, or if they like, let's say, for example, like I have an auntie that does like the amazing flan, and that's who showed us the recipe for the flan that we have at the restaurants. And a lot of the stuff, like for example, the chile rellenos, they didn't know how to make chile rellenos, but my auntie was really nice and she showed them how to make them, and they modified the recipe with their own seasonings. Right. And then along the way they were like, we're gonna add more eggs, we're gonna add more flour, like, we're gonna make this big of a batch. And so it was just the experience in the years that helped them get there. And so that cook that showed my parents how to cook was also the same cook that showed my auntie from Viva how to cook.
Huh.
So that's why a lot of people say like there's similarities in our food. And that's so funny that you say that your family's like, we love Viva and then we love Lindo, because we see it in the comments all the time. We see it in their comments. We see it in our comments. And I just think it has to do that. We're probably like one of the OG restaurants that have been for a really long time, because we have been in business for almost 20 years. And that people are like, well, yeah, that like when they think of like really Mexican restaurants or really good Mexican restaurants, they think about Viva and Lindo, because that's who really like started the Mexican food. There's other restaurants that have been really like for a long time, you know, like certain like pizza places that have been around for a long time. But like when you think of Mexican food, traditional Mexican food is always Lindo and Viva. And of course, there's a lot of great restaurants that have opened, you know, local restaurants. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of people know about Lindo and Viva. And I think that's just such a blessing that we have that. We have been around for such a long time.
But see, I have more questions first about you and your childhood before we move to the business, because I have like so many questions I want to ask you about that too. But see, like when you look back and like I have different questions. I'm trying to organize them in my head. Which one do I ask first? So you said your parents don't speak very well English, or probably the basics and commercial business English. But so at home, did you speak English with your parents, or was it always Spanish?
It was always Spanish. And I didn't start learning English until I was in kindergarten. Okay. That they put me in bilingual classes. So I did not know any like English when I went to school. I was like, okay. And the little kids would want to talk to me and like other peers. And I was like, I don't know what they're saying. So I feel like I really didn't dominate English until I was like second or third grade. And that's how all my cousins were though. Okay. Like me and my cousins were that same way. We didn't know English at home. But I think that's what really helped us be bilingual, because all of us can speak it really well. We can write it really well. We can read it. I can read English and Spanish the same. I can speak it the same. I can write it the same. So I think that's really good. And I want to implement that with my children. But my little 2-year-old, she's going to be 2. I feel like I'm not doing a good job because she hears me speak English a lot. Okay. And even though I don't speak English to her, she hears me speaking English to other people. So I've been trying to teach her how to say gracias, but she's been saying thank you. She says thank you now. So I'm like, no, say gracias.
That's funny because, so see, like we're similar in that same way, because for me it's French. I'm French speaking. And so I speak French to my son or Regina and Jean-Pierre, my son, are like a month apart. And so it's hard because now he's getting to the point where he's starting to talk a little bit-ish, like a few words probably like Regina. But see, same thing. It's like I speak French to him, but sometimes I get caught up because I speak English with Joshua. So when we're home, it feels weird to speak French to him and then turn to Joshua and speak English. And so sometimes, we just speak English all together. Yeah, I'm trying to catch him too and say not thank you, but merci, and just same with the French. So that's really funny. But I think that's very smart. Joshua doesn't speak French, so we cannot just have it just French at home. And so okay, so you were speaking. Okay, so in your head right now, would you say you're like an English speaker or a Spanish speaker? Like when you dream, do you dream in Spanish or in English?
I think it like changes honestly, because I do both. Like I speak English and Spanish. Like even with my team, like I have employees that only speak Spanish, and then I have employees that are college students and they speak more English, but they're bilingual. And so I watch movies in English and Spanish. I listen to music in English and Spanish. So it just depends. Like I speak with my cousins in English, and then my grandma just in Spanish. So it just really depends. But I would feel like I speak more Spanish, and I prefer to speak Spanish. But because of my job, I have to speak more English too. So, but yeah, I'm equally good. And I actually took Spanish classes in college. Okay. I got a minor in Spanish, Oh my gosh, nobody prepares you for how hard that is.
Oh,
Even
really?
for like
For a
bilingual
native,
people.
okay.
Like, no, like it's just so hard to write in Spanish. There's so many accents, kind of like French. I took French in high school, and it was actually not, I took 2 years, and it was not bad because I was like used to like the accents and all of that. But you guys use a lot more accents than we do. But when I was writing papers, I was like, oh my gosh, like they would always deduct me so many points because of the accents. And I'm like, my professor loved me. She used to go to Lindo all the time, but now she moved to, I think it was Mexico City, but she would always be every week there. And like when I would see her, I would be like, can I show you my paper really quick before I turn it into you since you're here?
Right? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but my husband and I, ever since we got pregnant with our first child, we decided that we were just going to speak Spanish at home. And we try to do that, but sometimes I have to get phone calls that are in English. And then when we go out to eat, I think that's where Regina's getting the thank you from, because every time we go out, we go for a coffee or we go to eat, wherever we are, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I seriously, like, it bugs me so much when people don't say thank you. And I deal with people all day, every day. And I'm like, just be kind, say thank you. Like, so I always make sure, sometimes I feel like I'm being annoying because I say thank you like 3 times to the same person. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so Regina now says, thank you for everything.
Well, that's good. It's best that she does. But yeah, that's, maybe you just need to, because being in New Mexico, I mean, I don't think people would be offended if you just said gracias instead of thank you.
Yeah, I know. My mom does that. No, I'm not giving them enough credit. So my parents, they understand English really well and they speak it well. They just are not fluent. Like they'll get to a part in the conversation when they're like, oh, I'm running out of like words to keep talking. But my mom sometimes on purpose, like she'll assume somebody speaks Spanish.
Oh, so she goes to Spanish.
And so she's like, gracias. And she'll start like asking stuff in Spanish, and I'm like, Susan, we're in New Mexico. You cannot assume somebody speaks Spanish because they have dark hair. Like everybody has dark hair. Like sometimes people will not speak Spanish, and sometimes they will. And she's like, oh, I really thought she spoke Spanish. I really wanted her to help me. I'm like, no.
It's like we have that a lot when we Joshua's mom lives in the South Valley, and we lived with her for a moment there when I first moved here. And so we would go shop, and or when you go to Nelson's, I don't know if you know the butcher in the South Valley. Oh, they're amazing. We just always get our meat there. Little parentheses, but they always, like, when we entered the first time, they started speaking Spanish to Joshua. Joshua doesn't speak Spanish, so he's like, yeah, oh hi,
He's like, no.
So yeah, no, you can't assume that because someone looks like Hispanic that they speak Spanish. But and it's funny because growing up, like in school, so in Belgium we had French, Dutch, and English as like languages, like that were part of the classes, but then you could choose a fourth one, and I could choose between German and Spanish, and I chose German because I love German, and I was like, oh my god, and I'll use German.
Yeah.
And then I ended up moving here, and I'm like, for real?
You're like,
no. So I love like saying the accent, like I just love saying Spanish word rights. So I would never, like, even for your daughter, I'm not gonna call her Regina or Regina. Yeah. That's more how the American way. I feel like Spanish is such a beautiful language. And there's similarities with French. So I feel like if I want to learn, but man, I wish there were more than 24 hours in the day sometimes. I feel like there are similarities, like when you say, bienvenido, it's bienvenue in French. There's some that are similar. So I feel like I could maybe have some, like, or it would be easier maybe a little bit for me as a French speaker, but I don't know. And maybe in a couple months I'll come to Lindo Mexico and I'll order everything in Spanish.
You know what? The numbers are pretty similar in French.
Yes.
Like only 1 through 10, guys. I only know 1 through 10. But when I was learning them, I was like, oh, this is not that hard.
No,
they're very similar.
That's true. That's true. And funny enough, every time we go to Lindo, I try to say like everything or I love the mole, the pollo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say how you say
no,
it
that's
anymore,
mole. Yeah.
But I just love that, or I always say like a margarita. I try to make the effort, and so but I wish I could do more. But see, like, so growing up, it was like more Spanish at home, and then, but see, it's funny. I just thought of that before I forget. But my godfather is Belgian, but he lives in Texas, and he lives there with his wife, who's also Belgian. So they're together all the time. So they only speak French. So his wife, he speaks English, but his wife never learned English because she worked, funny enough, in Houston in a Belgian restaurant, and she spoke French there. And so she never really learned or, needed to learn English. And so I wonder if in a way with your parents also just being together and speaking Spanish together, it was also kind of the same dynamic of, well, because I'm sure they speak Spanish together, and and then at their restaurant there's a lot of probably like Spanish speaker that come eat, and so you're easily in that dynamic of not really speaking English a whole lot. And I see with because I'm French speaking, but I'm bilingual Dutch, used to be, because honestly I understand it now. I can't speak it anymore. So sometimes I have ex-colleagues sending me like text in Dutch, and I answer them in English because I understand, but I just can't speak it really well anymore. So that's why, I feel like since you need to like practice a language to really like speak it, I feel maybe that's also what happened throughout, and like you said, they probably speak, more than what I'm implying right now.
Yeah.
That they are. But okay, so going back to your childhood, what were your dreams when you spend that much time in the back of El Viva Mexico, and drawing and or helping with the restaurant? Did you ever think that you would be part of it, or were you more like trying to not get like rebellious, but be like, no, that's their thing, I want to do my own thing? What was your thought process when you were little?
I think so it was in the back of the Lindo Mexico on Suri and San Pedro,
Oh,
where we had the room.
Yeah. Okay,
actually,
yes.
and the one in Wyoming too, on El Viva, we also, my cousin and I also had it was really, really small. Like if you go way, way back, it was like 8 tables. Like it was smaller than how it is now, like half that size. And so we also had a little space, but I really, I just didn't know, like, honestly, what I wanted to do. I knew for sure I didn't want to do anything in the medical field. Okay. I don't know, like, I have a lot of respect for doctors and nurses. Like, a lot of my friends are nurses, and I'm just like, respect for you. Like, I can't be with needles and blood. Right. Like, I just can't do it. So I knew I didn't want that. I did think I would be a really good lawyer. I'm really good at arguments and just like really having facts before, I get into somebody's face and start fighting with them or something. Like, even sometimes I'll be quiet about things. I'm like, I have the facts. Like, it's just, so I think I would be a really good lawyer. But I really didn't like have like something specific. And I just saw my parents were very successful. So I was like, I don't know, like it wasn't, I remember my mom once told me like, I really want you to like study medicine, like go to medical school. And I'm like, there's no way. We got into a huge argument, and I told her, I was like, I think that was your dream maybe, girl, but this is not my dream. Like, I just, I've been a firm believer that if you do something that you're very passionate about, you will just like excel in it. Doesn't matter what it is. Right. Like, I really do think that, like, it doesn't matter if it's, fine arts or if it's food or whatever it is. If you really love that, you will be so good at it. And so I developed a lot of love for the restaurant. And now I tell my mom, because since I came in, like, revenue and profit tripled. Like, so I tell her, I'm like, do you still want me to be a doctor? And she's like, no. So I think she tells me, she's like, well, you're the reason why we grew to a second location and why we're growing into more. So I think after she understood that, it was really good. So they kind of like let me do whatever. Right. And honestly, I think I went into the School of Engineering to, I guess, have them happy that I was getting a degree that they were proud of. But I always liked business. I've always been really good at business and numbers and just dealing with people. Like, I've always been very open, and I've never been like shy to talk to people. And I feel like for having a restaurant, like, you need to learn how to deal with different personalities, which I've like dominated now.
Yeah, you master for sure.
Yeah, I've mastered it. Like I even know how to approach my different team members in different ways that, you know, like I see their personalities, and some people like to be spoken to more gently. Some people like to be spoken to more directly. So I've dominated that, and I think I've showed my parents how to do that too, because they don't have any schooling behind it. So I think I've really been like a good guide for them as well. And I've seen like the things that they do that works and doesn't work for them. So I pick up on the things that do work and leave the things that don't work out, and tell them what works and how we can come together. And I think that's what makes us such a good team, because they have the experience, but I'm the one that has the education and the energy, and I'm young, and I'm the one that goes to all these different conventions and meets all these different people and invest all the time in different systems and operations that I'm like, we can do this, we can do that. And they just basically approve or disapprove. And they're like, why would we pay that? Or why are we going to do that? And I get their experience, and I'm like, well, remember how you struggled with this? This is how it's going to help, you know? So, but my dad has always been super supportive. Like, he's never pushed anything on me. He's never pushed like that I have to study a certain career. He just really wanted me to get a good degree because he really thought in his head that I was gonna not work for the restaurants. And I think where it came from, they really didn't want me to be in the restaurants. I was gonna
ask you, did they like expect you to take over at some point?
No, they didn't. They actually didn't want me to. Like they really, really persisted in me going to school, getting a degree, and being a lawyer, or being a private investigator, something that would, they used to think that the ideal thing would be for me to have an office job from 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
And I think they never realized that was not my personality, and I was not a 9 to 5 girly. Like I'm literally like super.
You're a 24/7.
Yeah, I'm 24/7. Like, I'm always out and about. Like, I cannot be inside one place. Like, even like when I'm at the restaurants and I'm in the office, like I'll set an alarm for 45 minutes. And every 45 minutes, I get up and do a rotation walk and see how my kitchen is doing, see how the dining room's doing, how my bartender's doing. And then I come back and like I see if anybody needs anything from me. And then I come back, sit down, and then again, I'll set my alarm so that they know that I'm there. I'm present, whatever they need. And I also want to see like what's going on, you know, if they need help, or sometimes it gets really busy and they don't tell me because they think they're going to bother me. So I go and I'm like, oh, they have a lot of people. Like, why didn't they tell me? And I help them. So when I think where it came from that they didn't want me to work is because they were working the restaurants very dedicated, like them there 24/7, them doing everything, like literally every single thing about the restaurant they would do. And they would want to micromanage every single thing, which is so draining. And I understand, like, this is their baby, you know, they grew this from literally zero to like what it is now. And when I came in, I showed them that they needed to delegate more. We needed it in order to grow, in order to organize more. We can't do everything like ourselves, and we need to delegate our jobs. So my dad was still cooking like at the Central and Louisiana location when we opened. Like, he was a cook in there. My mom was the hostess, and she was very present. I think my parents started not working so actively like maybe 2 years before I started working there, but they were still there. Like, they were still 5-6 days a week. They only had a day off until I came in, and I was like, well, we need to train people to do your job. We need to train people to know how to do orders and all of this stuff that I started implementing. But I think they thought that I was going to work that same way. And so I told them that in order for me to fulfill my goals, it wasn't going to work that way, because Aritza cannot be divided into 5 different pieces and be like, you're going to be here, you're going to be there, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be there. I can only like implement good operations and systems that can be duplicated to each location.
Right. Yeah. And then same. I mean, if you want to grow the business, you can't be there physically in every location, and you have to delegate. Which I'm trying to learn to do that too, but
I'm still like have such a long road ahead because even now, like I mentioned, like we have over 100 employees. They all have my number, and they can all text me at any time that they need whatever they need, or if I'm a very like open book if they're having issues with the supervisor. Or like I just really want to be like the first one to know about issues that are going on. And so I think that's been like a good and a bad thing, because I also feel like we're very, like all of us, not only me, like my parents and my husband, we're all very accessible to everybody. So I feel like sometimes that also makes it hard for them to go to supervisors that are trained to do the job,
Right.
because they're like, well, I'll just talk to the owners about it, right? Not my supervisor. And so they're learning, like we're trying to teach them more, but I think that's also one of the hardest things, because we're so involved. A lot of people might have different like perceptions of us, you know. I even on social media, like I've read really negative comments about my mom or my dad or me. My husband just started working with us like 3 years ago. He's very new in the game, and my husband is very calm, very passive. Like he's very like, I don't like confrontations. Like he really doesn't like. I remember the first person he had to fire, he really wanted to get out of it. He was like, please don't make me fire somebody, because it was literally the first time in his life that he had to fire somebody. And so my husband was in construction. He used to do plumbing, and he's really good. He has a GB98, so he actually established his construction company. And for our next projects, we have 2 projects right now that are about to start. I'm so excited to talk about them in the future. But he is running the construction for that, and I'm super excited for him. But I think that's like the difficult thing of being so accessible to employees and that we're there so present, is that they sometimes like we are very, and I'll be super honest, we're very hard on discipline at the restaurant. And it's very hard to find disciplined people. So with our restaurants, it's either you discipline yourself or you leave. Like that's the reality of it. And some people don't like it. No, people don't like it. So a lot of people that will talk bad on socials or like will like trash us, it's never been somebody that I can tell you, oh, I miss them, they were such a good employee. Like they weren't. Like if you're not on the team, then you shouldn't be on our team. Like you weren't made for our team. And I'll be honest, like not everybody's made for our team. Like we have a really fast rotation. Our sales are super high. Like a server on the weekend, like in a 5-hour shift, will literally have like between 17 to 20 tables. And my servers report in those 5 hours, $200, $250 plus their paycheck. So they're making like in one like shift, like 5 hours, like $300. So you have to be made to be working in a fast paced, like super strict environment. We're super strict on like how clean it has to be, how the presentation of the food has to be. And so we're strict like in the front and the back. When you go to our restaurants, like you will never see somebody look bad. Like tell me whenever you go, and if you see a server, a hostess, a cashier, supervisor that looks like they just got out of bed, no, absolutely not. And I feel like that's such a problem in bigger chain restaurants, that they just like goodness, like I sometimes go to Chili's or Applebee's like once a year maybe, and I see the servers look like they just got out of bed. Like I'm like, no, like here at Lindo Mexico, like if you don't come clean, ironed, your hair looks good, your makeup, like we don't enforce makeup, but we're like, if you're not gonna wear makeup, look fresh.
Right.
You cannot look like you just got out of bed. You cannot look like you had a rough night. Like if you're hungover, put some makeup on it, sister. Like we cannot work like this, you know, because our customers are expecting to have somebody clean and presentable. Like I even get asked all the time, do you pick your servers? And yes, I do pick my servers. Like I'm not going to hire somebody that doesn't fit in the team, because that won't do a service to them and it won't do a service to me. I'm only going to waste my time, and you're not going to like the team, because they're not like the type of people that you're going to get along from just the interview. I can see that because of your past history or how you work now. And so when I literally see people trashing us on social, I'm like, you can trash us. Like, honestly, we know where we're at as a team, and I know my team, and I know that every single person that's working with us now deserves to be on that team, and because they're responsible. Like literally anybody that goes and applies from Lindo Mexico to any restaurant will get hired.
Oh, of course.
And I always tell that to my employees. I'm like, you will get hired anywhere you go, because they know that you're coming from us. You're disciplined.
Yeah.
You won't use your phone. You will get there on time. You will have your bottle of water. You won't have to be getting our cups. You will have your own bottle of water. You will have your hair, your makeup done. You will be clean. Now, if you leave us and then you go work in a place that doesn't have the same discipline, obviously you're going to lose it. But you leave Lindo Mexico discipline.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, to whoever is watching it, you know, if you've been there, you know. I mean,
you know.
I'm always so amazed, and that's why we love going, because when you said, I mean, I've never been to Mexico. I wish I really want to go someday. But when you enter, it's an experience. It's so beautiful, and then everything is on point. The decoration, the music, and the servers. How you have them dress. I mean, I feel like I'm in Mexico, and I've never been. And I said I would say it the Spanish way, Mexico, and I've never been. So I'm just like, oh my god, this is just amazing. I just love it. And we try also to go every time you have mariachis.
Yeah.
I'm just, and that's just a cherry on top.
I'm gonna have to take you and Josh to Chihuahua, so you can really see
Yes.
like I think traveling for us has been such like a blessing. I will tell you how it started. I go to Chihuahua every month, and I've been going for the past 3 years to Chihuahua every month. But I think it's such a blessing because you see the restaurants over there, and I'm just sorry to say, but I don't think there's a Mexican restaurant here besides us that will be at that level. Like the competition in Chihuahua for food, it's out of this world. Like, and I'm not talking, they don't sell traditional food. In Mexico, you won't go to a restaurant to order enchiladas. People make that at home. Like the restaurants in Mexico that are Mexican, they're like contemporary modern cuisines. They're beautiful. They're just like, wow. Like you see them and they're clean. The servers are presentable. The kitchen looks amazing because in a lot of these places you can see like the open kitchen concept. And so I think that's what's also pushed us to be better because we're like, look at all these restaurants like that we try. Like let's bring it to our hometown. Let's make us better and like let's be at that level. And so when you come to Lindo Mexico, you'll see it's clean. The we're updated and everything that we can. Our menus are new. You'll come and see different things every time you come in. Like we have seasonal menus that Josh does.
I know.
Amazing job. Literally, he's so good. And he like the design, like you'll have different items because we know we have customers that have been with us for literally years. So we don't want them coming in every week and seeing the same thing. So we're like, well, let's put a seasonal menu. And so you get seasonal drinks and menu and food. And so you can have that. And I will be honest, for those seasonal menus, this last menu, we actually brought a chef from Chihuahua into the menus to show us like, so it was kind of like a test that we did. My parents had this idea that they wanted to kind of change like the presentation of our food.
Okay.
And I said, that is the worst idea I've heard from you guys. Literally, like, I cannot believe that you're saying that when we're so successful the way that we are. And so, like, I told them, in this seasonal menu, let's go ahead and make 2 of those plates that you want to make very pretty. And the chef we got from Chihuahua, she's amazing. I love her. She literally, like, works for those restaurants that I was talking about that has a modern contemporary cuisine. So the plates are very pretty. So we on the menu, we have 5 items. Okay. And 3 of those items we came up with, which is the Tacos Lindo Mexico, which is the very authentic, like, tacos are very popular in Mexico now where they, like, melt the cheese on the tortilla and then they have, like, the really thin slices of ribeye. And then there's the aguachiles, which is the aguachile trio, really good. And then we have the birria, which is super. Oh, yes. I was really rooting for birria to not be in this menu. This is the 3rd run of the birria, but it's selling so well, so people keep on ordering it.
It's really
we have
amazing.
to keep it on the menu. And so the other 2 are a salad and a really fancy tostada. And they're beautiful and they're super good. But I told my parents, I don't think our customers order this.
Okay.
So I let them do this run, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's get it on there. I personally, when I do all the cocktails, I just focus on tequila because I've done runs before where I do cocktails with vodka, gin, and whiskey, and they don't sell because people don't come to Lindo Mexico to order whiskey or gin or vodka, right? So when that happened, now we have the lowest sales on the salad,
plates.
lowest sales on the tostada, and I just said, I told you so. I told you people don't come to Lindo Mexico for that. So that helped them see that they shouldn't do that. So keep it traditional, and people love that.
Yeah. But in a way, it's good that you kind of like pushed it through a seasonal menu so that, it's only for a period of time. And then it's kind of like your test run. And I guess the public or consumers from New Mexico are not really into that. But again, yeah, when you go to Lindo Mexico, that's true. When you say too, I'm not a big alcohol drinker, but margaritas are my go-to. So, I'm like, whenever I come to Lindo Mexico, I'm getting a margarita no matter what. And then first, of course, I look at the seasonal, and man, you make like your drinks are so beautiful. They just, you just want to try them all. And then you're like, well, I can't drink them all. But, so no, I think it's so smart and so colorful. And yeah, I love that Joshua works on your menus because I always get a little sneak peek. And I was like, what are we going to eat when we go? Which brings me to also, we're getting close to Cinco de Mayo, which, wait, what's today? 29?
Yeah, it's next Monday.
Next Monday?
Yeah.
Whips. I was hoping to, I need to get this episode before then.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And if not, we don't have to talk about
I know,
Cinco.
but I mean, you're coming to my podcast. I also want to make sure that we get the word out, and I mean, I don't know if I can bring an extra couple customers to you.
Yeah,
I think you don't need that. you already
hey, customers
busy,
are always welcome. Like
but
I am
yes.
always so thankful for it. So,
but see, I love what you were saying, and I guess I have I can ask a couple more questions. We can just go back and forth. But I love what you said about your restaurant and your ethic about being clean and being presentable and on time and polite and all that, because all that goes into the service industry. And I feel like sometimes people forget that if you work in the service industry, you provide a service. You are the service sometimes too, on top of the menus and I think of that because as a clerk at the post office, we provide a service, and so sometimes I feel like people forget that, and they're so rude, and customers, they're,
Yeah.
you're gonna, what I'm talking about. You're gonna have people that are, that had a bad day. They're just gonna be rude no matter what, but you're also gonna always have those nice customers like you that always say thank you. I love customer service, so I always go with a big smile and I wish people like a good day, or I try to always compliment them on something.
Yeah.
Their nails, their hair, their makeup, their shirts, whatever. But I try to always make them leave with a smile, even on a bad day, because you never know, maybe they're having a bad day and they just need the extra smile or the extra compliment, and so that's so good to hear. And I think that's also why you're successful, because you have that intelligence, the business intelligence, but also the emotional and like people intelligence. I'm just inventing intelligences here, but
Yeah.
it's like when you told us earlier that you adapt to your employees, when that one is more sensitive than another, that's how to talk to them a certain way versus to another one where you might be more like direct or something else. I feel like that's also very smart, and thank you for doing that, because I feel like sometimes nowadays people are like don't care.
Yeah.
And so and they're very true to themselves, and I feel like it's very like social media-ish like type of people that are like, no, that's the way I am, so people have to adapt. And I don't think that's smart or true for a lot of situations. And so, I mean, I'm not your employee, but thank you for doing that for your employees, because I've been in my life confronted with higher like managers or bosses that were not like that. And I'm more like an emotional person, so I don't appreciate being yelled at. So, yeah, I think that's very, very smart intelligence to run your businesses like that. And I think that's also why you're successful, and why you probably, I don't know what your turnover, would you say turnover?
Yeah.
With your
Our
employees
our
are?
retention rate is super high.
I was going to say you
Yeah.
probably have a lot of loyalty.
Yeah, we do. We have literally,
Thanks to that.
I want to say like team members that have been with us for like over 10 years.
Oh, yeah,
And I
see.
think the one that has like the less time has like a month, and that's because I needed an extra server. But if I didn't like need that because of like the volume that we've been getting, I think from like our standpoint, I usually don't count my like front of the house, like my little cashiers and hostess, because they're very young. They're like 14 and 15-year-olds, so they're not part of like the retention percentage we take in, because they usually only come for like a season, or like their parents have a lot to like say in it. Sometimes they don't leave because they don't like it. Sometimes they leave because of school, or their parents are having a hard time taking them to work. But aside from them, I think our employee with the less time has 4 months as a server, and I don't see them leaving anytime soon. And we also, and usually when we hire, it's never because somebody left mad or at this point, like in the past, like we've learned, well, I've learned a lot, like how to deal with people and how to speak to them and what they expect from me as their boss. And so I've definitely worked on that. And so I think people that have left and we've replaced is because they either left the state, or I have a lot of UNM and CNM students who tell me like they're going to start internships or they're going to start working with like within their career field. And it makes me so happy when I hear like I have a lot of UNM and CNM students, and I will always work with them on their schedule. No matter what they tell me, like what their schedule is, I will accommodate because school is always first, and I've been in their shoes and I know what it is like being in school and working. So I love that when they tell me that they're graduating and they're having an internship or they need me to accommodate because of their internship, like I will do anything for them. But I think that being in this business and dealing with so many personalities has definitely taught me, like when I started, I was not as like, I guess, understanding as I am now. And I've learned that, hey, I need to analyze people before I like bring it to their attention, like their issues, because they might not even know that they're having like this issue, you know, like but I will only talk to somebody twice. Like I will only bring it to their attention twice. Like the third time I'm just like, you just don't want to make the difference because I've told you like twice already, and I'm just not going to say it 3 times. Like if somebody's having like issues like coming in and they're coming in late, like I'll bring it to their attention. Like what is making you late, first of all, right? Like maybe is it something in your schedule that changed? Is it something, did you move? Like, is your car having problems? Like I need to know these things so I can like accommodate for you. And so if they tell me like, no, I was late today. Okay, that's fine. I usually don't bring it to their attention if they're late like once, right? But if they're late consistently, I'm like, what's the issue? Well, no, I moved. Okay, well, maybe we need to work on your schedule and like put you in later or switch to the afternoon or let's switch you to the morning depending on what you need. And so I also think that a lot of the hate that comes from social media is from like when my parents, I was not involved as much. So they obviously, it was all experience. So, you know, like a lot of local business owners, like they don't know how to deal with that. I want to say because of like the education, the stress, a lot of factors, you know, it's very stressful as a business owner for people not to show up to their shift, for you to be relying on somebody and them not showing up. So we've learned to control that really well at our restaurants, but I understand where they're coming from. And I'm not saying that their feelings are not valid or saying that I treated them badly. I think that when I started the restaurant, I've definitely learned a lot and come a long way. But I can tell you, like, I've never like humiliated. I've never like made someone feel bad about themselves or like intentionally or made them like, I don't know, like I'm your boss and like you do whatever I say. Like, no, it's always been like, this is your responsibilities, and if you don't want to do it, well, you have to go. Or like, you know, I know my dad is very hard. Like my dad, out of the 4 of us, my husband, my mom, my dad, and I, my dad's like the hardest. And I think after him, it's me, and then my mom, and then my husband. You know, and so I think a lot of people are scared of my dad. Or maybe they have respect because they know that my dad really won't take any bullshit from anybody. He won't. And I won't either, but I just deal with it in a different way than he does. He's more of like, the good thing is that he's learned, so he doesn't do this anymore, but he did used to be like, you're fired. Like right out of nowhere, like you're fired. And now I'm like, Dad, well, we need to talk to them and see what they're doing that you don't like. So that's, I think, really good. And we've come a really long way with that.
Which is interesting because at the same time, it's like, well, it's his business. It's like, you know, it's his sweat and tears. And it's like, so you have to respect it or leave. Yeah, like you said earlier, like you either want to be part of the team or you're not made up for the team, and which is fine too. Like, you know, best of luck for, you know.
And, you know, the thing is, like, I find it funny is we never lie to people, like, on what you're going to expect coming into our team, right? Like, even before I hire people, I'm like, let me tell you this. You can't use your phone. You can't even have it on you. Like you can leave it in your car, or you can leave it in the office in a cubby with your name. Like you need to have it for an emergency. You can need to communicate that, right? But you can't have your phone. You can't have an Apple Watch on you because that's a distraction. And And a lot of them are very communicative. Like if they have like a somebody that's sick or they're expecting a call, yes, that's fine, but not on a daily basis, because we see it how much phones are a distraction for people, and they just make it so hard to deliver a good service. Like you won't, like you won't even work with your team, like because you're on your phone, you know.
Yeah.
And so we tell them like presentation, like you if you don't come presentable, you have the risk of being sent home. And if you're more than 10 minutes late twice in a row, like you will get called into the office and get a warning. Like all of these things we tell you like before you come in, you know, like it's nothing that you're like, I didn't know I couldn't have my phone. Right. Oh, I didn't know I couldn't be 10 minutes late. Like, and you're given this like written, like this is your like handbook, read it, make it like yours, and just like understand. Any questions, let us know. And I think the problem too is that a lot of places are so flexible and they allow stuff like that. So they're like, okay, well, you don't want to, I'll just leave. Like, I'll just go. And by all means, go. Like, if you don't want to respect that, like, we don't need you. Like, you know? And so I think what we do have that's very different from a lot of places is that you have your schedule and you cannot make changes without, like, prior notice. Like, a change in one day is 3-day notice, which is literally nothing. Like, organize yourself. Yeah. Right? Not putting emergencies in there. But if it's an emergency, like, we talk about it and we understand. But if it's not an emergency, you have a party, yeah, you can ask for the day off. You can switch it. But a lot of places are like last minute, like, oh, let me give you my shift. I don't want it. I don't want to go in today. Like, or I have this come up and I just decided I don't want to go to my shift. And I just think that's so bad because you don't teach people accountability. You don't. Like, you just let them like fly out the window. And I think that's one of the things that have worked for us so well with our schedule. And my supervisors just like love it, because they know who's coming into their shift. Oh, yeah. They're not having to check their phone 10 minutes or 30 minutes before and like, oh, I guess this person's, this person switched shift or they just give up their shift. No, like and especially in like our society, I feel like people don't have accountability. They don't have responsibility. They don't have accountability. They don't want like to be told what to do. And I'm sorry, but if you work for somebody, you're going to be told what to do. Oh, yeah. Right? Like, that's your thing. And, like, if you need a job, you need to do your job at the best of your ability. And I think that's such a big problem that I see with, like, a lot of restaurants. Even, like, I have friends that own restaurants or own businesses. And they present it to me and they're like, this is what I do. What do you think is, like, my problem? And I always tell them, first of all, is that you don't have, like, policies in place. You don't have a contract in place. And you also let them like do whatever they want, and they can't. Like, people need to be accountable and they need to know this is their shift, this is the time they're coming in. And I think that will greatly help your retention, that will greatly help your organization, your schedules, all of that fall into place.
It's interesting how, you know, I was asking Josh last episode about how does he deal with younger crowd, you know, because he works with interns and, you know, a lot of younger employees. And I feel like I have that example with my sister, that, like you just said, she doesn't like to be told what to do. And so that's why she's been like from a job to another a lot. And now she's like a seasonal worker and she's enjoying that a lot. She just travels, like she spends the winter season in the Alps in France, and then she spends the summer season. Now she's going to be in Corsica, but last year she was in Canada. So she travels. She likes that, and it allows her to just like experience different employers and different bosses that she still doesn't like, but you know, at least it makes it fun.
She's doing something that she knows goes with her personality.
Yes. But how do you feel like it's getting harder to hire employees that follow those rules, especially about the phone and, you know, the being late, presentable? Do you feel like it's something that it's harder and harder to expect from people? Or, I mean, of course you stick with your standards, but yeah, how is that experience with the newer generation?
Actually, it's not bad, honestly. Okay. But it's because I feel like the younger generations that I hire, like college students and sometimes high school graduates, like, it's because I put it very plain and simple. It's either you work with it or you don't, like, and you leave, you know? So it's all my employees that are there, they do good money. They have a job that they know that is going to provide for them, and that they don't need to worry about rent. They don't need to worry about their bills because they have a job. And so I think that if people are having like issues with their phones, or they don't like to leave their phones, they weed themselves out from our team.
Right. Okay.
Right. Because there's places that will allow you to have your phone.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see it all the time, right? But if you don't like these policies, you yourself will leave.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I don't need to fire you, right? Because you're saying like, to me, it's important to have my phone, and if this place doesn't allow me, then I'm just gonna leave. That's totally okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Find your place.
Priorities.
Like I'm not gonna get mad because you want to, and it actually it hasn't happened in a really long time. I want to say like literally over 6 months that I have not had to tell somebody about their phone, because they know they can't have it. And then when they're training new people in, whether it's in the back or in the front, they tell them, hey, you can't have your phone. And if you see somebody with their phone, they're the supervisors or somebody that was allowed to have their phone on them for a specific reason. And so I remember a little bit ago, now that you were mentioning your sister, I hired this girl for her server position, and she had such a good presentation, bilingual, and she looked really good for the position. And so she told me she came from Olive Garden. And I was like, okay. Usually, I'll be honest, I prefer to hire people that don't have experience, because we mold them really well into the Lindo Mexico style. I'll be super honest too. We don't hire employees that come from other restaurants, usually from other local restaurants. We don't hire them because they come with those bad habits they're super hard to break with them. Like, they don't want to leave their phone. They want to switch a shift like last minute. So we've learned that we just won't waste our time, and we won't hire somebody that has come from a team like that unless they're coming from like a really good recommendation from a really good person inside our team. And that hasn't happened ever. So, but I hired this girl, and she goes in, and one of my best servers was training her, and she comes and tells me, hey, I don't think this girl's gonna work out. Like, even my team knows. Like, I don't even have to like train them on that. They will come tell me that's a waste of time, that this is a good person, they're gonna do really good. Like, they tell me based on just seeing them on their shift how they will perform. And I was like, why not? And then she was like, well, she was asking me like how she can ask for time off because she goes to Juarez every other week, and it was her second day.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, and literally my server was like, should I tell her the next time I see her that if that's her plan, this is probably not going to work for her, because we have like policies of like vacation time, and we have to organize ourselves, and like you can only ask vacation time like 4 times a year, and you have to plan it accordingly, and all of this. And I told her, I was like, I think yes, so she doesn't make us waste our time. And so my server did mention it, like, it's not going to be that easy for you to be asking for time off. And so I think like 3 days later, she didn't show up for her shift. So you see, like, I didn't have to fire you. I didn't have to waste my time. You weeded yourself out. You were like, this is not my place. And that's okay. You can keep working for a chain restaurant that allows you to do all that stuff. But us locally, we're very successful. And we're successful because this is our recipe, how it has worked for us. And every restaurant will do what will work for them. So, you know, there's people that like doing that, and their phone has to be their Bible. Like, it has to be with them all the time. And it just won't work with Lindo Mexico, and that's okay. And I tell them in the interview, I'm like, are you okay with leaving your phone for 5 hours? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. I'm like, okay, are you sure? And yeah, and it's never, and guess what? It's never, now that you mentioned the young people, it's never my kitchen people that give me these issues.
Okay.
It's never like my cooks or my dishwashers or my preps. It's always my servers that have this problem with the phone. It's always them, because it's usually younger. Like, my servers are usually between like 20s, 30s, some early 40s. And so my early 40s don't have this issue, but it is usually like 20s, 30s that have a little bit more of an issue with that issue with the phone. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't have to have my phone with me all the time. And I have my kids, I have employees. Like, come on, you can leave it for a couple of hours.
Yeah, and then I see it, because, I mean, this is really specific to, of course, like, restaurant businesses and, you know, servers and all that, but I feel like it's applicable for other jobs too. You're right, whenever you have your phone accessible, it is a distraction no matter what, because even if you don't care, or if it's almost like you have to check it. You know, it's like, oh wait, but what if
it rings? Let me see what it is.
Yeah, I have a colleague, like, he's like that too, and he's always like finding spots and, you know, the post office were to, he knows that, nobody's gonna see him right away, or you see him if you have to go through there to get a package or something, but it's like kind of a dead zone or dead spot for the eyes, and
the cameras.
Yeah.
Doesn't that frustrate you though, as the colleague, like to see somebody like that and you're like, well, I'm working and you're on your phone, so.
Oh yeah, but yeah, because it's always like that. It's always, the same thing. It's, those people are the one that are like, kind of like dictating you what to do, which they're being paid more than you. Yeah. You're like right now I'm the bottom of the ladder, and it's like, I work my butt off, and not just because I'm new, but also because I like it, and and whatever job I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do it 200%. But yeah, and then sometimes it's always the thing, of course, like whenever you check your phone really quick, that's when someone sees you and is like, hey,
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're on your phone.
And it's like,
you're like, I haven't seen it in 2 hours.
Right? But I don't like to be the type that's like, well, yeah, but he does it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I'll own my mistake. I'll own my stuff. I'll be like, yeah, I just checked something really quick. But it's phones are awful, because same, like, it's like when you wake up, that they say don't check your phone. Like, you drink a glass of water, say hi to your husband,
your baby,
child,
whatever, your dogs, like do something.
Don't start with just taking your phone to go pee and scroll for 10 minutes. I don't do that.
No, it's bad. It's bad. So I just feel like this generation's very consumed. Yes. And I get it. Like, I'm a business owner and I have my babies. Like, I have to have my phone. But if I don't see it, like, especially the weekends that I'm working, like, sometimes I won't even say for 3-4 hours. Like, my husband and my parents have to call me to the restaurant. Like, hey, like, I called you. You're not answering. Is everything good? Like, do you need anything? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm just busy. So
yeah, there you go.
So, but yeah, it's an interesting topic. So
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, because it's interesting. And also, I mean, I'm sure that you probably have a full team, but if, anyone is interested in working on Lindo Mexico, I mean, you got it pretty clear what you need.
Yeah,
what to expect,
and we're doing a lot of changes too to our team. We're bringing a lot of more things to our team, like benefits, and I'm really excited to present that to them soon. So I think even our retention rate is going to get higher. We already pay really well, and I think, and I've always been a firm believer that people won't stay at a job just for the pay.
No,
people will stay because they feel comfortable. And I was just at actually like a business seminar last week, and they were talking about how the number one thing when you are at a job is that they give you a good work-life balance, and that's also why my schedules are super strict, of like not allowing to do last minute changes and organizing yourself, because I think it's very like uncomfortable, or I don't know, like for people to know that that's going to be their day off and then for them not to be off.
Right.
Or for them to be called in. Like, I really don't like that. I hate calling in my employees on their day off, because I'm like, they deserve the day off. I don't want to be that employer that's making you work like 50, 60 hours a week because I don't have personnel. Like, no, like it shouldn't be that way. So that's why all of our employees their hours are perfect. Their hourly pay is good. And then they literally have their days off. And if they request certain days off, I will literally move mountains to try to get those specific days that they want, so that I can keep them, because they're a good employee. And I don't want them to leave because they don't have like a certain day off that they need or want, because they want to be off with their husband, their kids, or everything. Like, the only day that I really always tell them to, and I'm not going to budge, is Sunday. Like, I just really can't give you, because our Sunday sales are so high. Like, it's our busiest day of the week. I just can't give you Sunday off. Like, I wish I could, but even us, all 4 owners are present on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like literally how I tell them. I'm like, if the owners are here, like, it tells you, like, we won't be a restaurant that will be able to do that for you. And some people are like, okay, well, it won't work for me. And then some people are like, okay, that's fine. You know, the majority of people that apply know that they can't. But it's really nice to know that when people want the Sunday off and I don't give it to them, and they say it's not going to work for me, that's a deal breaker, then perfect. Like, let's not waste each other's time.
Oh, yeah, no.
And find somewhere that they will give you Sunday off.
And see, would you say, because I feel like, to me, and that's stereotype, but Mexicans are hard workers. And so when I hear you and I hear how hardworking you are, hard of a worker you are and your family is, and all the rules you have for your staff and for your restaurant, do you think that it comes from your culture?
I think it comes more from the hard work and sacrifice my parents have made. And I think a lot of people don't get that.
Mm-mm.
That it's like, if we allow you like to use your phone, then everybody's going to start using their phone.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to start losing what we've worked so hard for, to have this disciplined team, to have this team that's consistent, that follows the rules, right? If I allow you to be 10 minutes late every single time, and I want to tell somebody else, don't be late 10 minutes, like more than once a week or twice a week, they're going to be like, well, this person's always late. You don't say anything, right? So that's like where it comes from, that I don't want to see the sacrifice that my parents have made break because of the lack of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents also don't want that they know how hard they work, and they know the sacrifice they've made. And like, you just have to be disciplined. And I think that's such like a rare thing to find in our society, like especially even as business owners. Like, I love this local spot in town, and I'm not even gonna say anything because I love it, but they also have really like good discipline. But I've noticed that sometimes even with their food, like I'll order something and they'll be like, we're out, and I'm like, there's like a store like right next door to them that they can go buy the stuff that they're out. And like, we will never, like, even like with our food, like we will never tell you we're out of this. Mm-mm. Like, unless it's like menudo that we only make a batch, like a fresh batch on like Saturdays and Sundays, and whenever it's gone, girl. Like, we made 40 pounds of this, like it's gone, you know. And so like some people don't care like enough, like even they want to be business owners, but they're not disciplined enough. And like, I think that's the difference with my family and I. We're very like perspective. We know where we're going, and we know in order to get there needs to be discipline within us, within our team, within our restaurant, like everything when it comes to our ordering, like our inventory, our bar, everything. Like, we're so, like, I'm not even joking, we're so disciplined that our bartenders will get an exam, and they won't know until like a week before, hey, you have an exam coming up. And the exam consists of you making the drinks. We have over 40 cocktails that are like the cocktails that are there all year round. Josh did it. And then we have the seasonal, which is like about 4 to 5 drinks that come in every 3 months. When you're a bartender, you're expected to know every single recipe by heart. And you're supposed to use all your measurements. So whenever, like, literally, I've never seen, I think I see a bad review on our cocktails, like maybe 1 in 100. Like, and that's because, you know, you can't please everybody. Like,
right. It's more like a taste.
It's like you know, like,
the cocktail was bad.
Especially if people are not from here, like, I get that. But our, like, 97% of our reviews of cocktails are amazing. And it's because you know that your bartender, my bartenders are disciplined. Like, they will use their measurements. Like, I sometimes see people, like, not using measurements. Like, I'll go to, like, restaurants and I like just see them free pouring. That's not even legal to free pour, by the way, but they do it. And I'm like, even the restaurant is losing money by free pour. Like, you're just losing money. That just shows that you're not doing inventory, that you're not taking care of your costs, because free pouring is not good for a restaurant, and you can lose a lot of money. And so my bartenders, like, I will tell them, like, hey, next week you have an exam. I don't tell them what day, they just need to be prepared. And how it goes, it's that I name 5 drinks, and you get timed on each drink, and you have to make it by measurement every single time. Like, you have to measure your syrups, you have to measure your sweet and sour, you have to measure your tequila to make it exactly how it is. And I thank God I've never had somebody fail, but if I did, I'd be so devastated. They get a second try, but I did have somebody that was not doing well, and I think having that exam, like, they were literally dictating the recipe, like, by heart. So even if they were not doing their job correctly, after that, they were doing it excellent. So, nice. So, and that's never going to change for Lindo Mexico. I think
you got it down.
Yeah, we have like more projects coming along, and one of them is literally like 3-4 times the size of Lindo Mexico. And so we're going to have a lot more employees, and all these policies are just going to follow because that's what works for us.
Which you have to, if you want to expand, especially, I mean, you have to. I don't know what's going on today with you, Aritza, but every word is coming to in French in my head. And then I'm like, translate, and it's not translating. And I'm like, okay, well,
like, this
sentence will not have an end to it, so it's okay. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your culture, if that's okay, because I have like questions about how, because even earlier so you call your mom and your dad by their first name. Is it like a Mexican thing, or is it just how your family functions?
No, I think it's just me. Like,
Oh, okay, okay,
I
okay.
think all my friends call their mom or
Yeah,
dad.
yeah, uh-huh.
But it came from a place because I honestly, when we're at the restaurants, my parents are not my mom and my dad. They're my partners. We are
Mm.
all that's like the difference that I think a lot of people don't know is that in the restaurants, my husband, my mom, my dad, and I are all partners. So we're all owners and we all have a say in everything that is done. Everything we approve, it comes by the four of us. Even
Mm-mm.
when we decided somebody's not going to be in the team, it's decided by the four of
Right.
us. New menus coming in, we're all like we literally have like our meetings like
Nice.
CEOs that
Right.
this is what's happening in this new project. This is how it's going to develop. This is how it's going to look. And so when I started working at the restaurant, I was about 20. When I fully started working in the operations, I've been working there all my life. But when I was like 21 and I started working more full time, I would call my dad. Like I would be like, Dad, how do you do this? Dad, what goes into this recipe? And he would never answer me when I was like, Dad. Like he was just like, like whatever, like somebody's calling me. And when I was like, Sergio, he'd be like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna call you Sergio because that's how you answer. You don't answer to
Huh.
Dad. And then my mom was the same way. And I feel like I also don't want my employees to hear me say mom and dad
Uh-huh.
because I want them to know that it's more like of a
Equal.
business
Yeah.
standpoint here. Like we're
Okay.
not it's not my mom and my dad. It's my business partners.
Mm-mm.
It's what we are. And so everybody thinks it's so funny because some of my team members don't even know that they're my parents until like a month, 2 months in. They're
Uh-huh.
like, that's their daughter or that's her dad. Like what? And because I never tell them like, oh yeah, like I'm the owner's daughter. Like I never mention that
Mm-mm.
unless they're like, or even when my dad sometimes is there and a new employee starts working because my dad and my mom and my dad haven't hired people. I think I want to say in like over 5 years they have not hired somebody. They don't do the hiring process. They don't do the scheduling. They don't do any of that stuff. They're there physically looking what needs to be improved and everything's running smoothly. They're there about 3 days a week, 3 days
Mm-mm.
and a half. And so sometimes when a new employee is there and I'm training them or I'm talking to them, like I'll come up to them and be like, this is Sergio, he's the owner. This is Susan, she's the owner. I never say this is my mom.
Right,
This
right,
is my
right.
dad. Never. So I think it's more me because my
Yeah.
cousins don't call their
Okay,
parents
uh-huh.
from their last name, their first name. They just don't do that.
Yeah, I remember I first saw it because you used to vlog. You have some vlogs on YouTube.
Yeah.
That I watched and yeah, I think in one of the first one you just talked to your mom and you said, "Hey Susan," and I was just like, I had a moment where I was like, wait, I thought it was her mom, but then is she her aunt? Or I was trying to think,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh no, it is her mom. And so yeah, it's funny, but it's funny because I mean, it depends, but even in like European cultures, some kids call their parents by their first name too. So so I was just like, oh, maybe it's a culture thing. Or,
Is that seen respectfully, like in your culture, like calling your parents by their first name?
you know what? I feel like it's more like in the higher classes, like or the like back in the day with like the princes and like all the I can't think of the word again.
Like royalty?
Yeah, royalty. They call their parents like by their first name um or more like father. But like it would be like translated in French. Of course it doesn't sound the same in English, but yeah, so I'm just like, huh. But at the same time, so how do you feel about your children? Do you want them to call you mom, or do you want them to call you Aritza or Ari?
I think I want them to call me mom
Uh-huh.
until they're older and see how they feel. But
Uh-huh.
I think I call my parents like mom and dad until I start
Right.
working fully
Yeah,
at the
right.
restaurant. So,
Yeah.
and it's so funny. My mom tells me it's funny because like, I'm an only child, the only girl, and I've always been a daddy's girl. Like my dad has been like my hero all my life. He showed me a lot of the stuff I know about the restaurant. I want to say about like all of the kitchen operations and stuff. Like I learned from my dad. and my mom taught me more of like customer service in the front of the house. But
Nice.
my dad has always been like my best friend. So my mom thinks it's funny that at the restaurant he's Sergio, but when we're on vacation or we're shopping, I'm like, Dad, Daddy. Like, so even now with like my baby Regina, my baby girl, she's super spoiled with my dad. And my little girl looks exactly like me when I was little.
I saw pictures
Yeah.
that you shared. I was like,
Yes.
oh my God, this is you.
So I think my dad thinks that it's like me reincarnated into like another like version of myself. And then she also has a lot of similarities in my personality. She has like a mix of personalities between me and my dad.
Okay.
Which we have like the hardest, toughest personalities in the household. And Regina has our personalities. So my dad is super attached to Regina. And I think everything he didn't get to do with me, he's doing it with her, because if he sacrificed and worked so much, so now like he has the time and the money, so he's like, whatever Regina wants, Regina's getting, like, and which I kind of have to like tell him to tone it down a little bit, because we also don't want her to be a little spoiled brat and like, you know, not be that person that everybody likes because of the way that they are. So I always tell him like, don't give her everything, even though you can give her everything. Teach her like more work ethic like you did. And I think that's also a misconception with me, is that because I was an only child, I actually think it's really nice when like my employees tell me like they respect a lot what I'm doing and like started so young at the restaurants, because I feel like anybody in my position like could have chosen like not to be at the restaurant. And like, you know, my parents are wealthy, so I could have traveled, I could have done whatever I wanted, and they probably wouldn't have like said no. You know, I have friends that are also really well off, and their parents have very successful businesses, and they don't want anything to do with them. They're very just open, doing whatever they want and spending their parents' money, and that's okay. Like it just wouldn't sit right with me, and I think it does have to do with my culture as well, because I saw my parents work so hard. But I always had to work for whatever I had, even if it was like, because I in social media I am seen with like a lot of like brands, a lot of expensive brands, and a lot of things that are really nice. And I think people automatically used to assume that my dad bought it for me, or my mom when I was younger. Not anymore, obviously. But and when they did used to buy it for me when I was a teenager, or like, you know, when I was like 18, 19, I always had to work for it. Like, it wasn't just like I asked them for like an expensive purse because I wanted that as a gift. Like, I had to wait for a birthday, and I still had to deserve it for my birthday. Like, how did I do in school? How has like everything been? Have I been listening? At what time to get home? Like, it was a lot of factors. Like, they were never, and my parents raised me really good. Like, I was terrified of going out drinking and like coming home. Like, you cannot. I was the DD all the time. My like friends love that. Like, they could be freely drinking, and I would not, because I'd be so afraid. Unless I was staying over at like a friend's house, and like, or it was my friend's house that we were having like a sleepover or something, like I would drink. But if it was just like us going to a party, my dad has insomnia, so like I knew he was gonna be up. Like, if he told me you need to be home by midnight, I'm like, he's gonna be waiting for me at home by midnight. And so if I would always get there midnight, like straight midnight, because once I didn't, and my phone was going off, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was terrified to get home. And it was not my fault that I didn't get home on time that time, but my dad didn't understand that. He was like, I don't care, I told you midnight and it's almost 1. Where were you? And he was like, let me smell you. Like, do you smell like alcohol? Do you smell like smoke? What do you smell like? Like, so my parents were very strict in that form. So I honestly feel like everything that I did get, like, I worked for it, deserved it, and I never felt like, oh, like my parents are spending a lot of money on me. It's just that they really worked hard on my education and the way that I was raising up. And now I feel like everything that they've done for me, I'm giving back to them, because I've made them so much more money now that I'm working there, and they also get to buy more things, and they get to be more calm. They get to vacation more. They're going to Dubai, which is like their first international trip that they're taking. Like, well, we've traveled all over the Caribbean and all over the U.S. Like, we travel about 4 times a year as a family together. But this is the first time that they're traveling alone internationally. They're taking a 14-hour flight from, where is it, Seattle, I think, to Dubai.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you, they're having like the trip of their life. Like it's like very nice, like business class with the beds, and I have to remind them that they deserve
They
this.
deserve it.
Because sometimes I feel like they think that they don't, or they shouldn't spend so much money. And so when we were planning the whole itinerary and everything, my dad and I surprised my mom for her birthday for a trip to Dubai, and he was just like, like, I don't know, like, this is expensive. And I was like, Dad, you deserve it. Like, you can afford it. You deserve it. You work so hard. Please, please, please go on this trip and enjoy it and be comfortable. Like, take this flight. And he was like, yeah, okay, we'll go. And so we planned it, and I'm so excited for them to go. And my mom has always wanted to visit. I really want to go to France. Please take me.
Well, I will take you to Belgium. So it's funny because I don't know how
I
it
keep
is with,
forgetting
like,
that you're from Belgium and not
I know.
France.
Well, I don't know how it is with like Spanish speaking people, but from like, at least it's my experience with me and like a lot of people I know from Belgium, but we don't like French people from France.
No?
Like Belgian don't like French people don't like Belgian people. We have this also like long like disagreement about French fries, which are actually Belgian fries. You know that they're claiming are French, they're not. They're Belgian. But we are a small country, but we're like just on top of France, like cream on top of coffee or hot chocolate. So we're the best version of France. we have chocolate, waffles, beers, cheese, bread, you name it. We have Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, the newer generation probably don't know him. I know him. It's funny because he's like he does martial art and he's famous for his split and stuff. But for us, he's famous for moving to America and saying the stupid stuff like 1 + 1 = 11. Or what does he say? I know it's not even what he's saying. What is he saying? Like he's like gone, like he's like be aware, and he's far gone into funny, crazy stuff. But so when I moved here, and my husband watches a lot of like, or growing up, he watched a lot of like martial art movies, and I always laugh, but like I always tell him Jackie Chan, but it's not Jackie Chan. There's another. And he's gonna laugh because I can't remember.
You can't remember.
But so and apparently like Jean-Claude Van Damme did a lot of those movies, and I've never seen any of those, even though he's Belgian from Brussels, where I'm from. But all that to say that Belgium is beautiful. Brussels is insane. It's the city center of Brussels. It's like you go back to the medieval ages, and it's like paved streets with like. It's just insane. I'll show you pictures. It's just amazing. But I took Joshua to Paris now when we went to visit my family for Christmas. And you need to see Paris. You need to see Paris. You need to see France. South of France is way more beautiful than any, I feel like, other places in France. I love the south of France. Marseille, Cannes, everything in the south is so beautiful. But it's the same kind of weather as here too. But more like north of France, like Paris and stuff. People are mean. I don't know. It's something else. I don't like it, so I can't speak very well about it. But Belgian, you always find friendly people, and we have amazing food too. So speaking of our like native or origin countries, I don't know anything about Mexico except that everybody's just telling me. Like, I wish I could go. I was just talking about it with my sister. But there's like this big, of course, like, cloud about it, but also saying, oh, you can't go as a tourist because you might just die or never come back, or everything about, the drugs. And I'm so happy to have you because I don't know anything about Mexico. And I would just love for you to tell us a bit more about your country and your culture. And, for maybe to let people know that it's, not just about what is that show? Narcos.
Oh, such a good show. Narcos is such a good show.
It is.
So, but I think it's a lot of people have that misconception, but once you really get over that and really see it, you just can explore Mexico, and it's so beautiful. Like, I could go on and on about Mexico all day. Like, It's beautiful. And I don't think it's okay if you do go to like a specific state that has that fame, right? Narcos is from Sinaloa. Like that is a state that I would tell you don't go to Sinaloa,
there, right?
because it really is where all of the narcos originated, and that is always going to be probably a state that's going to be at war. You know, like it's just it's really like, even my parents love to go to Mazatlan, and it's in that state, and they just won't because it's so dangerous, especially this year. Like, you know, that the narco world is so broad, and it can be influenced by El Chapo being in jail and this other narco that dying. Like, it really, how the narco series portrays it, it really is how it is influenced in all over Mexico. Juarez is not that the safest either. Chihuahua, I think, is safe. Like, I go every month. I have to go through Juarez, but I never go at night through Juarez. Like, it just won't happen. But I prefer to, like, not travel if I have to go at night. But in other parts of Mexico, like Mexico City, Guadalajara, Puebla, Zacatecas, well, Zacatecas no, but Puebla, like, all of them are very safe, and they're very friendly to tourists. I don't want to tell you to go to, like, Cancun and Puerto Vallarta, and even though I love Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo, like, I love them, but you really won't be able to experience the true, authentic Mexico at those places. You won't, because, like, it's built for tourists. So, like, even the food that you do eat there, like, every hotel I stay at, like, they have good food, but it's never, like, close to the authenticity that you should be receiving. So if you really want to visit, like, a place in Mexico, I would start with Mexico City. And it's safe when you stay within, like, the cities that are safe to travel to. And if you're being, like if you're, I hate to say it, but you should stick to tourist, like, destinations, especially stay in those tourist destinations. Like, in Mexico City, we were just there, and we stayed in Polanco. And that's known for, like, the richer, higher end city part of the state. And a lot of retired people live there. A lot of Americans, a lot of retired Americans, a lot of Germans, Russians. Like, I was literally there in Polanco, and the food is amazing. Every single restaurant I visited. During other parts of the day, I did go visit La Basílica de la Señora Guadalupe, and it's beautiful, but it's a very different side of town. I went to different areas of town, and they're all it's very different than when you're in Polanco, but you get to see, like, the authenticity of Mexico. And when you stay in Polanco, like, I was like, am I in, like, the United States, or where am I? Because, like, every single place you would look, you would either see somebody, like, an American, a German, whatever, or you would see very rich Mexicans. Like, and I'm talking, like, Mexicans that live there. Like, for you to be rich in Mexico, it's like, it's a different level. Like, because the life in Mexico is a lot harder. So Mexico is very classist. Like, here in the U.S., you know, I always put an example, like Adam Sandler, right? Like, like, he's super rich. You couldn't tell he's rich. Like, he doesn't look like that. That's not the case in Mexico. In Mexico, it's very classist. So you will be able to tell if somebody has money or not. There's not an in-between from what I've seen and where I visited all over Mexico. In Chihuahua, it's super classist. You get to see who has money and who doesn't right away. And Polanco's that way too. Like, even their dogs. Like, have you seen Pets? Like, the movie? Yeah. Okay. You know how, like, there's the different pets and they're all super clean and everything? That's Polanco. Like, if you walk into Polanco, I was so amazed by the dogs there. Like, I was like, you know the white poodle in Pets? I think I saw, like, 20 of those. Exactly like that poodle.
Oh, my God.
Roomed, clean, like, it was rich people just take their dogs everywhere. So, but I would say that if you are feeling uneasy about going to Mexico and being scared, then go with a native. Like, go with me. You and Josh can come with me and Beto. We can show you guys around Mexico City, wherever you need to go. But I would also start maybe with the beach. Like, you should visit Cancun, because it's literally, I think, the most beautiful beach in all of Mexico. And I visited a lot of beaches in Mexico, and I visited a lot of beaches all over the Caribbean. And I think Cancun has the prettiest beach, and so clean, and they cater so much to tourists. So I assure you, whatever all-inclusive resort you decide to stay at, you will get such a good treatment, because they really care about the tourist and you having a good time there. And so I would start there and then feel a little more comfortable and then go to other places like Puebla and Mexico City that are a lot more, San Miguel de Allende, that are a little more uh, not that open to, they do have a lot of tourists, but they're not a tourist destination like
Right.
Cancun and Cabo is.
Yeah, see, but it's funny because growing up, I've always been attracted also to like the less touristy area. And that's what I would say too about France and Belgium. That's why I don't like Paris, is because, of course, like everybody goes to Paris. And it's like, oh my God. And every time you hear, I mean, and, it's just me. I'm just like, there's so many more beautiful places to see than Paris in Europe in general. Because I feel like a lot of Americans, when they hear Europe, they're like, oh my God, I want to see Paris. And it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, after you saw the Eiffel Tower and Le Louvre, like that museum, and then like a couple spots in Paris, I feel like you've seen it all. But at the same time, you have to see it once in your life. But same for Brussels, though. I would say the city center is insanely beautiful, but I would never recommend for anybody to eat there because it's just like they're just trying to catch tourists and for them to just spend their money there. But that is not authentic food. It's not even good food. And so, we'll take you to Belgium too. And so
I think I'd be so lost going to Europe. I'd be like, I don't know where to eat. I don't know where to go. And it's in my bucket list for next year.
Oh,
I really want to go to Europe next year.
And see, the thing with Europe, though, what's really good is that everything is so close to each other. When Joshua came to visit me for a month when we were dating, I took him to Germany, and then I took him to London, and then I took him to where did I take him? Wait, Germany, London, and then we went to France. So it's so easy to, like, in a month's time we traveled so much. But I was working too, so we were traveling whenever I was off or after work. But it's like, you cross Belgium from one side to another in 4 hours.
Wow.
So it gives you an idea of how small Belgium is. But it's interesting how you said that about classes, and I want to go back to that with Mexico because right now my son, he won't watch anything else but Coco on Disney Plus. He just loves Coco. Every time we turn the TV on, he's like Coco, Coco. He can't say Coco. And so we watched it probably about 62 times already in English, French, and Spanish. Nice. But I watched recently, I put on, because on Disney Plus, it was, of course, then it puts you, like suggestions of other stuff. And there was like a concert version of it. And Eva Longoria was like presenting with other people. And she was saying how growing up, she always saw her mom and her aunties always prepped. Like she was saying that Mexican women would never go out like without wearing makeup or red lipstick or hair done, or that Mexican women take a lot of pride in the way they look and stuff. And I was going to ask you, is it something that you feel is the same for you or was the same growing up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it's funny now because the makeup world right now is like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you see it all over socials. And makeup influencers get a lot of money for it. And Sephora, Ulta are always packed with people. When I was growing up, and I always think people saw makeup, like, because after elementary school, I started going to middle school and high school in schools that have very different demographic. So for you to put it into perspective, like in high school, me and my best friend were the only ones that spoke Spanish fluently in our whole grade. And I think if maybe there was like 10 people in the high school that spoke Spanish, that was a lot, honestly. And so I, as a Latina, have always worn makeup. Like, yes, my mom has always taught me to look good. Like, I will never leave the house looking like bad. Like, I won't leave in sweatpants. I won't leave with my makeup and hair not done. Like, I will have it in a braid and a ponytail and a bun. My makeup is always done, even if it's just concealer, but it looks like I put some effort and time into me because my mom has always been like that. And so even to put it into perspective, girl, like pandemic, I did not go out for months, right? We none of us could go out. Every day I would do my makeup. And I would literally tell my friends that were feeling depressed, get ready.
Right.
Please get ready. Like don't be at home in pajamas, laying around being lazy all day. Get ready and it will make you feel good. And that I really do believe that the way you look
makes a difference.
Yeah, the way you look really tells you how you feel. So for me, if I don't do my makeup, I feel like crap. Like I feel so bad. So when I was in middle school and high school, more high school, I don't want to say middle school too much, but more high school, makeup, at least in the school that I went to, was very frowned upon. Like I see a lot of the girls were, they really wanted like the natural beauty, like and they really like to presume that, oh, like I don't wear makeup, like I'm very pretty. Like if I didn't wear makeup, my skin is really nice too, but I prefer to wear makeup. I prefer to wear lashes. And I'm very proud of like my skin journey. Like it's really good, but I love makeup. And I just think that like because of the different cultures, I had a lot of people, I think in high school, like throw hate because it's like, she's always wearing makeup. She's always wearing lashes. I hate people that wear even girls that didn't like me, they were like, I don't want to get into much details, but let's just say that they didn't like me because of a boy or something. And they would say like, oh, I hate people that wear long lashes. And I was literally like the only one that was wearing long lashes. And I'm like, well, not my problem. And I think other people do like them. So, and I think also it was funny because in high school, I went to school with people that swore they didn't speak Spanish, that they didn't have anybody in their family that spoke Spanish. They really weren't happy or proud to be Latinos or from Latinos descent. And then I feel all of a sudden on social media, being a Latina was very popular. Being a Latina was like, wow, like you're a baddie now, right? So now I see all of a sudden people I went to high school with saying like they're from like Latino descent and they can speak Spanish, and then they put some stuff like in Spanish and they're like stories, and I'm like, you literally denied speaking Spanish all of high school. You literally denied like being a Latina or even having people in your like family that spoke Spanish. Like to me, you could never make me deny that I'm a Latina. Like even in college, I went for a Latina sorority when there was like a lot of other sororities that were trying to recruit me or that I could have gone for, but I really wanted to be with my roots. And so I just think it was funny. I'm like, you hated makeup and now you wear a lot of makeup because that's like the trend. But you gave a lot of hate in high school for that. And then you also, I don't know, for me it's like you were also wearing, you didn't want to say you were Latina or that anybody in your family spoke Spanish, and now all of a sudden you speak Spanish, and all of a sudden you know Spanish. And I'm like, dang, like people just really follow trends and really just go along with whatever it is. And to me, I'll say like I'm proud, like even in high school with my friend that we're not that close anymore because she moved, and you know, like we're just in different phases of our life, but I have her on socials and I know she's doing good, and I hope she sees this and know that she really did make my high school experience better, because I loved that in the hallways we could just speak Spanish and nobody knew what we were saying. And we could literally be speaking about you and you did not have any idea that we were speaking about you. So, and it was just so cool. And I don't know, and I think she made some of the best memories for me in high school. So,
well, that's well, thank you for saying that for her. It's funny because I feel like, well, I didn't have the same experience, but for me, like, I was bullied in school. I was like, there was different like groups of people. I called them the kikulol. It's not gonna mean anything to you, but it's more like they were just laughing. They would just laugh all the time, but laugh like they sounded so stupid. Like you would say, hey, and they would laugh. It's like, I don't know. They were kind of a strange group of people.
Yeah.
And then there was like the Girl Scout type of group. I was not part of that. And then there was the like smart people, and I don't want to say I wasn't part of that, but I kind of wasn't part of the, smart. So, and I was just there, and growing up, I'm the oldest. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and I was a little mom for all my brothers and sisters. And so in a way, it's funny because you were an only child, and I feel like you kind of like took that role, even though you were not a big sister. But I feel like we have the same like character, where for me, like I had so much to help to do home. I needed to help cook, and needed to help do laundry and do everything. I didn't have time for really for school, for friends. And then at the time, I think we grew up in the same, I mean, I'm going to turn 32. I think you're a little younger than me.
Yeah, I'm 27.
Oh my God.
I'm going to turn 28.
And so growing up, like I had we had the phones where you only had like 300 texts a month. So you couldn't really answer K because it was one text.
Yeah.
And plus I didn't have a whole lot of friends to text, but it's another discussion. All that to say that growing up, I feel like high school was so long and just awful. All I was focusing on is I just need to graduate. I just need to graduate, and then I need to move on. And it's funny you said that earlier about being a lawyer, because when I was 6, my parents were together. They were not married, but they separated. And so there was me and my 2 sisters. And then my dad married my stepmother, and he had 3 kids with her. And then my mom had 1 kid with my stepfather. And growing up, there was a lot of like, we went through the courts and stuff for who's going to have custody, all that good stuff for a lot of long years. And I always thought so many things were outrageous, the way we had to go through those stages, and it felt so unfair. And when after I finished high school, I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, and I went to law school, and I failed. Lost the first year 3 times. Yes, I went through law school, and I loved it. The thing is, with the amount of help I was giving home and the amount of studying I had to do, it wasn't matching. There was just no way I would. And it kind of sounds like an excuse, but looking back, I tried so hard, and I tried for 3 years, and it didn't work. And so I was like, okay. And my parents had a lot of hope. My dad had a lot of hope for me. He was just so proud. The thing is, when I was in law school, I could see in his eyes, he was so proud of me. And then one day, I mean, it wasn't working out. So I was like, all right, well, now in high school, I already had, how do you say that in English? I stayed a year.
Yeah.
And so I was already like a year behind, and then I failed 3 times for my bachelor. So I was like, okay, I'm 4 years behind students that are in the same class as me, whatever studies I'm going to start now. So I was like, what am I going to do? I was still living at my parents. And so I just looked, and I saw this like opportunity for like a bachelor in management assistant. And so I was like, I don't see myself behind a desk for a 9 to 5, but they were saying that the outcome was like, you have a job in the 3 months after you graduate. So I was like, sure, I'll do that. And so I did a 3-year bachelor in management assistant. And then I did start, so I graduated June 27, July 3rd, I started working at P&G as a budget expert. Wow. So I was like, well, sure, yeah, it worked. I had a job right away. But, damn, I'm going very deep in this story I'm telling you, but it's when I worked there, and I loved my colleagues, but however, I saw them, they were 20 years older than me, and I was like 9 to 5 behind a desk, and I was just like, this is not for me. And so when I had the opportunity, long story short, I went to Las Vegas. Oh my God, this is a very long story to tell.
It's okay. I want to hear.
Met Joshua. So the thing is, I was really unhappy in my life because when I started, so at the end of my bachelor, I got kicked out of my parents' house. And all of a sudden I was a big sister, and I was, helping and stuff. And all of a sudden I was alone, and I felt like there wasn't like this. I really didn't feel right in my skin, in my place. I was just like, I was living with a friend for a little, and then he started. Long story. I was cleaning his house for him, so that's kind of how I would pay rent. And then he was like, oh yeah, but you're going out a lot now, so you need to pay rent. And I was like, oh, it's okay, I'll find my own place. And the next month I was in my own place. And then I had friends. I was surrounded by friends that I thought were friends. They were not friends. A lot of things happened. I mentioned that in the episode with Josh. And then I saw I'm a Britney Spears fan since I'm 6 years old. And so I saw that she was ending her residency in Vegas, and I was like, I need to go. And I finally was able to, I had money saved because all those years, I started working when I was 14. to help my parents with, food and rent and groceries, anything, or clothes for my brothers and sisters or for me. Because see, since it was so many of us, my dad always said, I can't give you money because if I give you €5, I have to give everybody else €5, and all of a sudden it's not 5, but it's 5 times 6. And so I was like, sure, well, yeah, that sounded still unfair to me, but I was like, okay. And so I went to work right away, and on top of my studies and stuff. And so when I was kicked out, all of a sudden I still had 2 student jobs, and then I was working on the side on a job, and so all of a sudden I started having all that money saved, and Britney Spears was ending her residency, and I was like, I am gonna go. And so I spent $600 in the concert because I wanted to be in the front.
Wow.
There's like, it was crazy. And so it's funny because the concert, there was like people in the stage, like there was a right side, a left side, and I bought my ticket for the right side, and then I go to Vegas alone. I asked
you
friends.
You went alone?
Mm-hmm, I asked friends, but they were like, no, all Britney Spears, no. But then also, I feel like there's also a world between when you think you have friends and then when you ask them to help you or something. That's when you really see if you have friends or not. And so at that time, I just went, and I laughed because I told my brothers and sisters, I'm going to meet an American and I'm going to marry him in Vegas. So I met my American.
Little did you know.
You know what? I did ask Joshua though because we met. So I was in line and I started talking with a guy in front of me who knew everything about me. I thought I was a fan. I'm not a fan. He knew the color of her underwear and like the name of all the dancers. And I was just like, I know she's born December 2nd and then that she loves Sprite. I know lyrics of her songs, not all of them, but all right. And so all of a sudden, the girl behind us starts talking to us, and that she was saying she came from Albuquerque and she drove with her best friend that wasn't going to go in the concert, but was here just to, be
support
there.
Her
yeah. And he was about to join us in line. And then that was Joshua. And so I was like, oh my God, I had fake eyelashes, super long blonde hair, a work bitch hat, leather skirt. It wasn't me, but I was like, hey, I'm black, and I was black lipstick. I had lipstick all over my teeth. It was just a mess. But and so and see, I just went super deep in that story, and I lost my train of thought. But all that to say that growing up was hard, and then it was awful going through being kicked out of my parents' house because. Long story, but it also put me in front of a mirror for myself, and kind of like I had to not just be a big sister, I had to also be me.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I guess you maybe had the beginning of social media when you were growing up in high school.
Yeah.
Because for me, I didn't have that, and so I had just like a Skyblog or whatever, but when I went home, school stayed in school, and so I don't know how I would, and we touched about it on the previous podcast, I don't know how I would have dealt with social media in high school, being bullied and stuff. I'm so happy I didn't have to deal with that. Did you have to go through that, social media with high school or even like later on? How do you feel like, what's your relationship with social media?
I feel like I've always had like a pretty good following on social media. And I'll be honest, I feel like my personality is very like harsh. Like I'm a ride or die for like my friends. So and I'm very like, I don't want somebody to ever feel less than around me or with my friends. So I feel like that's why I was also a really good president with my sorority, and I did a really good job because when I came in, like, it needed a lot of help, and I feel like I did a really good job because I dealt with different personalities, and I really wanted everybody to feel included into our sorority, and I feel like me having that personality, I expect a lot from people with their friendships, like because I give a lot. So I can sometimes be seen as like being in Spanish, you call it cabrona, which means basically that you're like, I don't know, I want to say like you can be like feisty and you can be very strong headed and like, you know, you can be a bitch. And I'll be honest, like if I need to be, I will be. And like I feel like in college when I was in my sorority, there was this instance when you were mentioning that you got bullied, that so we were gonna go, and I feel like I've never, like I've had the peace with my friends that like knew about it very closely, and they understood like where I was coming from, and obviously, well, they stood with me on it. But basically what happened is that we had a, what was it? It was like a conference. It was just a regional conference in El Paso. And I want to say maybe there was like 25 girls that were active at this time at the sorority. And so we all wanted to go. I think, I can't remember very well, but I think the majority of us were going to go. And so there was a particular group that always hung out in the sorority, and I hung out with them. But then I found out that some of the girls that were also part of the sorority didn't have a ride to go to El Paso. And when I asked them, like, it was one girl that I was like, where are you staying? Because there was like a whole plan between us. Like we were going to stay in the same hotel, and we were going to all go together over there. And she told me that particular group, like some girls told her that there was no space for her in the room.
Oh.
And to me, that like broke my heart, because it's like I thought a sorority was about all of us getting along, all of us, and up to that point, like everything was really good. And I probably shouldn't have, but I'm like very like expressive, and like when I get mad, like I get mad. So I got really mad, and I said, I'm gonna rent my own hotel room, and whoever wants to stay with me can stay with me. And I think it ended up being like 6 girls that stayed with me. And it was like a double beds. It was college. I was like, whatever, like we don't care. Right. And my truck was full. It was like a truck of like, it was my dad's pickup, and it was literally like 5 seats, and all 5 seats were full. Like I took everybody that I could take. It was really fun. And so when I was over there, my best friend was in a sorority over there, in a really big sorority. And she was like, let's hang out, your girls and my girls. And I was so mad. I was like, I shouldn't have been so spiteful and vengeful, but I was. And I was like, I'm going to leave them out so they can feel what this girl felt. Because I felt so bad for her, because I feel like this girl was already so shy, and she already felt like not part of the sorority. And I feel like doing that to her just made her like feel more out of it, right? So I was so mad, because I've always been the type of person that doesn't like for people to feel less than or feel like they don't belong. And so I got so mad, and I was like, I'm not going to invite them. And I told my plan to everybody that was with me in that room. Everybody was like, yeah, like, let's not invite them. Like, let's do this, right? And so we were also like 21 years old or 22, I think, at this point. We were young, right? So I remember that I told the girl, no, we were not even 21, because we went to a club and we got our hands marked because we weren't 21. So we were 20. We had to be like 19 or 20. We were young. And so I remember that everybody was like on board, right? They were like, yeah, we're not going to like invite these girls. And I ended up finding out that these other girls that were leaving some girls out that they didn't hang out with or didn't like, ended up inviting a bunch of guys over to their room. And like I guess like maybe like 15 people stayed in that room. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, so you couldn't make time for, you couldn't make space for sisters, but you're making time for guys and space for guys. Okay. So that just even disappointed me more. And that's when I really saw colors of those people. And I just decided that they're not going to be my friends. Like, even sometimes the way that they would talk about people and like their own friends when they were not there, I'm like, they're not friends. Like, they're not people I want around, right? So whenever we got back into Albuquerque, there was like a discussion about it, right? There was like, oh, well, we felt left out, blah, blah, blah. I swear, like, out of the 5 girls that went with me, or 4 girls, like, all of them turned their back on me except like one, except the one I defended. They were like, well, she told us to do it. Like, she said that we should do this. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, are you kidding me? I didn't put a freaking gun to your head and told you, let's do this. You decided that you wanted to go to the club. You decided you were not going to tell them about it. All of you had phones. All of you had communication. All of you have a mouth. that you could have been like, I don't think this is correct. I don't be mad. Like, get over it. You know, because somebody could have told me like, get over it. It's not that deep. Like, let's all be friends. No, everybody went along with it until it was time to give up the face. And when it was time to put face to face, I said the truth. I was like, you guys did this. Like, you guys, this is how it should have been. Why are you guys leaving people out? And I think ever since that point, like, the people that I did care about and I have good relationships with, like, we came to like the conclusion of like, you know, it was wrong. It was wrong on our end to do this, and it was wrong on your end to do this. But our friendship is stronger. We're going to get over it. And there were some people that never got over it. And I think, or that did, and had like the idea of like, oh, she's a bitch, or she's this, or she's that I was that. I'm like, I don't care what you think, because at the end of the day, we probably shouldn't be friends, because just the conversations that we had, or the type of people you are, like, and now my friends tell me stuff that they're doing or that they did, and I'm like, dang, that's why God was like, you can't be friends with these people. Like, they're not your friends. And I noticed, I'm like, you're not even friends with yourself. Like, you're not even friends with the people that you claim to know for years, that you love. Like, I just couldn't. So I think that's one thing about me, is that, and a lot of people, and on social media, I will get hate on it. Even like I had a controversy like not that long ago, and I don't want to go into much detail about it, because I don't think it deserves the time, because I don't think I want to use my platform, where I've worked hard to grow it and to get like a good following and have a, you know, like a good community. I don't think they deserve more attention to it. But I did get comments, and people were calling me like a bitch, and people were calling me, you're not like a girl's girl. And people were even saying that in elementary school I bullied them. And I'm like, I just feel like it was a really good opportunity for people that already don't like me, that I either fired them, or that I didn't want to be their friend, or something. I don't know, something along the way. Because for me not to be friends with somebody takes a lot. Like, I'll be friends with anybody. Like, I will literally, like, doesn't matter what they do, who they are. Like, if they're good people, I don't care. Like, I'll be your friend, you know? And so I feel like when that controversy on TikTok specifically happened, I got a lot of hate because I called out somebody on copying me, because that is truly the way I felt. Even though a lot of people were commenting, and I don't know if she was sending them or they were coming on their own because they were mad that I called her out. And they were telling me like, oh, she posted this, like she's posted videos like this before. To me, I didn't see any videos in the same format. Like, yeah, you posted a long time, like for a long time. I've also posted for a long time. But even me in my past videos, I hadn't used this format. And the frustrating thing to me was that it took me a while to decide how I was going to start my videos, how I was going to post them, what I was going to talk about. And it just so happens that after I post that, you also do exactly the same thing, which you've never done. Yes, you've also posted stuff about your family in the past. That's respectable. You can do whatever you want on your socials. To me, it was just so funny that the videos started the same, had the same things going on in the videos, same styles, same voiceover, which I hadn't seen voiceovers like that in the past or start like that. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't see the videos and they do exist. But until this day, nobody has proved me wrong. Yeah. Nobody has. People were just calling me out and putting things on the comment, but I did not see a single person. On the contrary, I saw a lot of people message me and a lot of people comment, well, yeah, you did. And I didn't even have to call out this person. My audience, the community, they did. They did, and I feel like the comment of like, you're not a girl's girl. I'm a huge girl's girl. Like, I will always support my friends, and anybody that knows me knows that I will be there for them 100%. Doesn't matter what they need, when they need it. I'm just not a girl's girl when I feel like somebody is trying to imitate me, or when somebody is not having the best intentions of me. I'm not going to be a girl's girl. I'm going to be a bitch. And I think that will be everybody, but it takes a lot of balls to say that. And a lot of people don't like that, and they don't like when people are like that.
I think there's a lot of jealousy, because also, you know, I'm going to tell you something. You're younger than me, and I admire you. And I think it's also okay to say that to someone. You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of people would either be jealous of you or support you. You know, they're either going to root for you and say, oh my God, you're a business owner. You own a business with your parents, and you go, girl. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm genuinely really happy for you. And I'll support your businesses in any way that I can. On top of it, I mean, you're a wife, you're a mom, you're a business owner. what is it that you can't do? I think that's what I told you last time I saw you, because to take the picture for this episode. But I think a lot of people either fall into the jealousy, and it's easier to be jealous and to just criticize whatever is they can, and which would be then, oh, they saw that you said something about this girl, so all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, everybody's just like jumping on that, or they support you. But I think in that moment people look at themselves, right? And if they don't like what they see, they fall into the jealousy and they fall into the criticizing, because they probably don't have a whole lot of good in their own lives, and that's just sad to me.
Yeah.
Same for people that like criticize a business or a restaurant, or or the post office. I'm gonna talk about it. Oh my god, we have like 2.1 stars. My post office.
It's always like that though.
But you know what? The people that put comments are mostly mean people, like people that just want to say negative stuff, and people that have a good experience. Like, I've had so many good experiences at Lindo Mexico, and I apologize because I don't think I've ever put a review on Google.
You don't need to. It's because maybe you're not that type of person. You know,
No.
you don't need to.
But see, that tells you a lot though, because I go to eat at your restaurant probably like 3 or 4 times a month. Meanwhile, I've never put a comment. However, like a person that would have gone once and had a bad experience, maybe because out of A, B, C reasons, they're going to put a comment, and all of a sudden people are going to see that and think that's the reality.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's also what social media does. And something that I'm realizing too, but I think it's because, I'm getting older and stuff, and you taking a step back and you being, being a mom, I think had a lot to do with it, because all of a sudden it's not just you, there's a little you.
Yeah.
And so, I look at social media, and what you see on social media is not what everybody sees on social media. Everybody has their own little like view of the world, depending on what they like, what they follow, what they post themselves. And so a lot of those people have the same accounts in common. I don't know if I make a lot of sense, but it's like, so in a way they just like build each other up in all that negativity. And I'm glad that you're not letting it eat you, because, like you said, it's not worth it.
It's not. And, at the end of the day, I think social media is a platform where you can express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people were saying, like, you guys do the same thing. And so it's not imitating, like, you're not the first one to do it. And I never said I was the first one to do it. I just did start doing it here, and for me, it took a lot of courage and organization to do that, because I'm already so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I put a lot of hard work into it and a lot of time and effort to even developing the idea. Like, I worked a lot with my marketing guy on this. He's really good on his socials.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Jonathan Jalubi. If you guys don't know him, he's amazing. He manages all of our socials. And he literally gave me a lot of advice on it. So it wasn't something that I like decided that day. I was posting, and then for me to see that somebody posted something almost the same, I was like, it's fine. But at the end of the day, I was like, everybody is going to be following whatever they want. And it is easier to find people that are honestly like really mean on social media than to find people that are really nice. Like, most people are not nice on social media. And I feel like that's a thing. Like, for me, that when I decided that I was going to do it, that I was going to get hate, because a lot of people go to our restaurants. A lot of people have worked for us. My parents have been in business for over 20 years. Like, there's a lot of people that love us, a lot of people that don't like us. And there's a lot of people that like me and a lot of people that don't like me. But I do want to say, like, I'm always going to stand for what I say and how I act. Like, I'm never going to tell you, like, I should have done that differently. Like, and if I do think that, I will take accountability for it.
Yeah.
But nothing that I posted on social media, I can tell you, like, I've regretted. Like, everything I've posted, I've meant for it. And I honestly, like, think that it's the way that I feel. Some people can agree. Some people can disagree. I frankly don't care. Like, I'll do my thing. And I think at the end of the day, people will see, because you don't have to prove anything to people. Like, even, I'll be honest, till this day, people still message me and show me, and they're like, did you see like how this video is starting, and like of the same person, and how now it's even more similar than before. And I'm like, you know what? Let them. Right. I learned that from one of my favorite podcasters. If you haven't heard her, Mel Robbins. Have you heard of her?
Oh, I've heard. I haven't had a chance to listen yet.
She has like a let them theory, and it's basically like you have to let people whatever. Let them think what they want. Let them do what they want. Let them whatever they want to do. Let them, because at the end of the day, you can't control people. I can't force somebody to like me, and I'm not going to change like the way that I do things or the way that I say things to be likable online, because that would be lying to my my community. Like, I will always stand that I'm strict and that I have goals that I'm going to get there. And I want my kids to be like very open and very like how the way that they feel, that they say it, and they don't shut up because people are so mean, because people are going to attack them. Honestly, by all means, people can throw shade at me all the time. Like, I really don't care. Like, I've been on socials for a long time. How you mentioned, I have YouTube, and like I stopped it because I started getting really busy, and then I started doing my fertility journey, and that was just super like overwhelming for me, and I stopped doing that. But I really want to get back on my YouTube, and I really want to be more consistent on my TikTok. But right now I'm kind of like exploring different methods and seeing what videos work, what don't. Like, even if you go on my TikTok now, you can see that I have different styles of videos, and like I'm kind of exploring to see what works for me best with my schedule, with my audience, my community, with my marketing guy that helps me. So I really respect people, even influencers out there that I see that are just so like honest and authentic about how they are. You know, like I am never going to be like, and at first, I'll be honest, when the controversy, that's been my biggest controversy on socials. At first I was like, people are being mean, and like even my employees, like they were like, we're going to comment, we're going to say this. I was like, no, it's not worth it, because I was getting a lot of hate comments from people that they knew. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm just gonna, at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, let them. At first I was like, should I delete the comments? I'm gonna delete this comment. This comment is really negative. I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna delete them anymore, because if that's really how you feel, that speaks more about you than me. Because I expressed how I felt, and I didn't even mention names. I didn't say anything. I just said that I felt my creativity was being imitated. And if you were leaving dirty comments, and if you were like attacking my family business that has been in business for over 20 years, and you were saying cancel Lindo Mexico, that speaks more about your character than mine. Because I'm just saying like, hey, this is how I feel, and that's how I stand. And if you feel like you need to come and comment negative stuff, that's okay. That's what social media is for. But if you're also sending me nasty messages, like I had an account that had no profile pictures, no followers, nothing. Like they had, I can still have the screenshots because I showed them to my family. And all of a sudden they were messaging me really nasty stuff, and they were commenting really nasty stuff. And I was like, why hide? Why are you hiding? Just be you. Like, why are you creating a fake TikTok with no followers, no following? You're not following anybody, no profile picture, user with $1 million numbers, like literally. I'm like, come on, like be honest on who you are, you know, like at least I'm being honest the way that I'm saying things and the way that I feel, right?
You know, and I think for my next like videos in the future, if I am like, you know, in another controversy, or because I'm pretty sure like this is not going to be my last rodeo, because I will pursue social media. And that's just like a thing you have to deal with. I think I'll let them. Like, if you want to give me hate, give me hate. If they want to give my family hate, give my family hate. At the end of the day, I know who I am, who my parents are, who my husband is, my kids are, my team is, my restaurants. You can give them all the hate you want. And I think it speaks a lot about people if they're growing, you know, like business-wise, if they're growing. Like, you can't grow a business if you're a shit person. Like, I'll just say it.
It's right? Not gonna work.
No, nobody wants to work for you. You don't have like good ethics. So, and for us, we're so blessed. Like, honestly, God is really good to us. And I feel like we have like a really good relationship with God. So I think like if you see us growing, and if you see that we're actually good people, we never had a lawsuit. We've never like, nobody can come and say we've never paid them, or that we did this or we did that. Like, we're not bad people. You just don't like to hear the truth, and that's
and our society cannot hear the truth. Like, and I'll be honest, the truth is hard, right? Because like you will like hear it and you're like, no, or like people can be really negative, how you were saying. Like, I think it's funny when you were mentioning the reviews stuff, because when we get a negative review, we always know who it came from, because we remember the situation.
Oh yeah.
We remember, we're like, oh yeah, like this person did complain about that, and we know who it was. They were really like mean at the restaurant, whatever. And I always like to see their other reviews, because if you click on their profile,
oh yes, exactly,
you can see,
I do that
and
too.
it's almost always
negative.
They only have negative reviews. Like, it's like you only go to Google reviews to post a negative review of business. Why don't you post positive reviews when you had a good experience? Or sometimes they have like 15, 20 reviews, and like 2 are good and then like the other ones are negative. And that's when I'm like, I don't care about your review. You literally post just negative reviews. And like at the end of the day, like, I know I try to make the situation better at somehow, or we tried to fix it for you, you didn't want to, but we're not gonna like also just give you to your side because you're saying that you want a free meal. Like, we are very, very honest about things, and we're fair when we're like, oh, we did mess up, like, let's give them a free meal, let's give them a discount, or their next meal is on us, we'll give them a gift card or something. But some people are just like so hard to deal with, and we're like, thank God we don't have that much of an issue, because we're pretty good at conflict solving. But we do get people that are just like, we don't want to solve a conflict. Just like on social media, you'll get people that are like, we don't like you. Well, don't like me.
And it's funny because with social media, then just don't follow. If you don't like, just don't look, don't follow. You don't have to. You don't have to put a bad comment. Just don't watch the content. Yeah. It's free content. You make free content for people, and so they don't have to look. They have a sneak peek into your life, and who you are, your persona, who whatever you want to share. And for some reason, people feel that they're entitled to just give their opinion.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I'm like, people can speak whatever they want.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I'm like, yeah, if you want to say your thing. I'm just not the type of person that would comment like something negative. Like, I will say how I feel, but I won't be like, you're a bitch. Like, I hate you. Like, you are this, you are that. Like, I won't do that. I will say like how I feel through my socials and my platform, but I won't. I just think it's, I don't know. It's so funny when people comment really, and I see it all the time. Not even on my videos, like other people, and I'm like, dang, like, do you really have to like tell them that? And then you see that there's a bunch of likes for that.
Oh my god!
So I'm like,
they're hiding people behind it, like
and I'm like, so there's like a negative comment, and there's like 300 people liking it, and I'm like, dang, like there is really a lot more hate in this world than like, like I don't know, love. I guess.
And see, in this case, I mean, I didn't see the videos or anything, but I feel like, of course, social media, you're always going to have a little influence. You're going to get influence when whatever content you make, because you see, like for the podcast, in a minute I have like 2 stacks of cards. I would like you to pick a card from, la la la, and then at the end I have a question from Josh for you, and then I'm going to ask you to ask a question for the next guest, not knowing who it's going to be. But the cards, I didn't take it like verbatim from another podcast, but I follow another French podcast, and I really love her content, and she has some sort of a card thing, and it's not the same thing. I made it my own way, but I kind of took like, I inspired myself from her, and then the question I took it from someone else. I just love the idea. I just love it. And but you can also just credit people for it, and for that girl that she copied you or not copied you or got inspired from you, she could just have simply said, well, I love your content and I think it's very smart and I just wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah, like
end of story.
And that's literally what I put in one of the comments, and I think people even got more offended because I said that, because I was like, well, just give credit, like if you did get inspired. And some people were like, credit for what? You didn't do anything. Like, this is like content that happening all the time. And I'm like, well, I say credit because the video looks very similar. Yes. Literally, even my marketing guy was like, do you want me to put them side by side so we can like have people shut up? And I'm like, no, because I don't want to give them like the attention. But I was like, side by side, I would literally shut up everybody. Like I would be like, I would literally, in Spanish, you say, les mato la perra, which means like I kill the dog, which is like, I can show you where it's coming from. Like, I'm not being like a bitch about it just to be a bitch. Like I was mad because it took a lot of courage for me, you know, to do this. And so for me to want to show you what my parents have done for over 20 years. And so when the videos look the same, I'm like, so yeah, I did want the credit, but at this point I'm like, don't give me the credit.
Right?
Keep doing you, and then I'll keep doing videos, and let's see, like,
long term,
because those videos, even like I do a lot of videos with cocktails, and I hadn't seen videos like that before. And you know, even like the people that were sending me like still videos, I was like, you know what, just let them. I was like, you don't have to show me, like it's fine, like just let them, because I'm just not gonna give it the time and energy. Like I have my babies, I have my successful restaurants, like I just don't have the energy to do that. I'm just gonna keep doing my socials. But I think at the end of the day, like if you were to credit, like I honestly could not tell you where like I would be inspired, because I didn't see anybody that was doing what I was doing.
Yeah,
so that's literally why I decided to do this, because I was like, hey, I don't see anybody like that owns like a restaurant talking about the operations like day to day. Like I don't see it yet. Now, because I've started posting, obviously the algorithm is like bringing me to those people now, and I love it. And now I see like, oh, like their content is like similar, but none of them are like my content. They're not like starting off the same, or they're not like doing cocktails in their videos, or they're not going to the back showing you how the batches of food are being made. So I'm just like, I didn't see anybody doing that, and I was like, I'm gonna show you as a young Latina what it is to work with your parents' like restaurant. And so people can either like it or dislike it. I'll stand for it, and and I will receive the hate and the love that people want to give.
But see, I feel like, because I haven't seen those, so you must be posting them just on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not on TikTok, so I guess I'll download TikTok just to go see a video.
You need to.
But I feel like it's a special crowd too, though.
Yeah.
TikTok, it's like its own universe of people. Even though I want to say like my dad is on TikTok, and I'm like,
my dad loves TikTok. I think parents just like love TikTok.
It's so weird. Yeah. I need to get into that, but then I'm so afraid to be sucked in another, like, you know, something else. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so
That's
much.
how my husband is. My husband's on TikTok, but he's not like a big TikToker. Like he really tries to limit his intake on TikTok, because he says it's very time consuming, and it is. Like you can really lose a lot of time on TikTok. But when you were talking about the inspiration, it reminded me that when I was when I do my cocktails, specifically like ones that I just put into the Cinco de Mayo menu, I remember that those cups that I got, I saw them in a restaurant in California, and I was like, oh, these cups are amazing. Like, I just love them.
Yeah.
And so I looked for them and ordered them. By all means, I did not do the same cocktail, the same decoration. I did not go and like, what's the recipe? What are they making? What does it say? Like, I used those cups to make it into my restaurant.
Make your own touch.
And I think that's like the difference with a lot of things, like you being inspired. You know, like I want you to be inspired by my videos. Like I receive messages from a bunch of like girls around the States that like their parents have restaurants, and they're like, we love this, we love the content, like keep doing you. And I love that community that has built. And I want to say that like that's also what like keeps me going on my TikToks, that people are like, we love this, like we love that you're posting about it, and that, you know, because being a young business owner, it's not easy, and like being especially like Latina, because like parents can be stubborn, and you're trying to grow their restaurants and stuff. So I think like I want people to be inspired by me, and I do want them to learn from me. That's the whole point I did a TikTok, to help other like business owners like know how to organize themselves and what they should like include in their restaurants, how I did it and stuff. I still want to get more in depth in my TikToks about that, but I want to keep doing socials, and I think I will, but it's just like me basically playing around and seeing what works and what doesn't. So I'm just like trying to figure it out with my marketing guy. Like he's so good at it, so I'm like, what do you think about this video and this and that, and he helps me a lot with it. So we'll see how it goes in the future.
That's good. And see, I feel like a lot of people like think it's so easy, right, to post videos or vlogs or anything on social media. It's not. It's really not easy. And a big part of the not easy part for me is the editing.
Oh yeah.
Is the editing. It's long, it takes time, and it's I need to learn to delegate.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I need to learn to delegate, because you want things a certain way, or you see something and you're like, oh, I want to do something that looks like this or that, and for a long time, like, I follow a lot of vloggers from Belgium, and moms were like big families, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I can do that. I want to do that. I want to share my daily lives too. I want to vlog. And I was laughing last episode because I think I have like 343 videos ready to be edited
Oh
into.
my gosh.
Yeah, I've been vlogging the behind the scene of the episodes, the podcast, and I thought it would be really cool. And I was like, at first I was like, I'm gonna just edit as I go. Of course I didn't do it. So now I'm super backed up, and I'm like, I don't know where to start, and I want to start, and I want to get into it. So honestly, I want to give you credit for all those videos you already got out, and the ones I didn't see on TikTok too. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see your journey, see more of those, and of course, even see like you discovering and figuring out what you like and what you want to keep doing. I loved the videos you put on YouTube so far. They're funny. I feel like they're so genuine, Yeah, there's the one where you do your dad's hair, and then you just, go. I don't remember where you guys were going, but you were in the car with your dad, and then you just doing makeup with your mom, and then you made like, I think, like chocolate strawberries at some point. Like,
Yeah.
it was just like genuinely fun, and I really felt like I was a part of your life a little bit, And I think that you're really good at that, just genuinely showing, what you do, who you are, and a sneak peek into your life. And I think, because you have a beautiful home and because you are beautiful, I think a lot of that is going to attract like a lot of envious people, and people that are going to say that you were born with a, what do they say? How do you say that in English? Like a silver spoon. Yeah, with privilege. Yeah. And they're not going to know that you actually worked your way there, and that your parent, like you were not.
I was part of that journey with my parents. Yeah. So. And my mom always tells me that. She's always like, not everybody's your friend, and it's okay for like people not to like you. And I mean, like, you just have to deal with that, because like my mom always tells me, she's like, you're in a position where like you can receive a lot of hate, like, and you just have to be okay with it and deal with it, and not learn not for it not to bother you. And I think I've come a really long way. And my husband's like that. He's such like a good communicator, and he's always like, it doesn't matter like what people say about you, because you know who you are.
There we go.
And it doesn't, like, you have to be strong. Like, you're such a strong person. Like, don't let these like, people that are not even happy with their own lives bring you down. And like, he always tells me, like, if you are gonna say something like on socials, like, just like stand by it. Like, say like, yes, I said it, and this is what I meant, and like, take it in, and if you don't, like, he tells me all the time, he's like, if you don't want to receive hate, then just be fake, be like like fake to everybody, and be so nice on socials, and like, because that's literally how you will like not get hate. Like, if you just give everybody their side, like, and like agree with everybody and not put anything, but that's not your authentic self. Yeah, so I'm like, he's right. And I just wish my husband was more like open to socials, but he's not like a very big like social media person. Like, even when I met him, he only had like Facebook. He literally created Instagram and Snapchat to talk to me.
To talk to you.
But like, literally, he had Facebook only, and I'm like, this person, like, what are you doing? And my husband's 5 years older than me, so when I met him, I was gonna be 18, and he was already gonna be, he was 23. Yeah, he was gonna turn 23, and so he's always been kind of like a lot more mature, and he is not into like socials and being on, like, if I post him, he's like perfectly fine, like being on my social media, but he's never gonna be that person that's like, I'm gonna start posting, or I'm gonna do this or do that. Like, no, he's very, very relaxed, and he's very calm, and I don't think he likes a lot of drama in his life, so he thinks social media is drama.
Oh yeah, and see, Joshua is like that in a way too. And it's funny because when we met in Vegas, and then I went back to Belgium, and he went back to Albuquerque, and we added each other on social media, and at the time Snapchat was big. I feel like it might still be big, but we deleted our accounts a long time ago. But so when I was in Belgium, I was kind of looking, and it was the beginning of when you could see people's location on Snapchat.
Oh yeah.
I was super happy because I was like, oh my God, I can see where he's at, even though the locations didn't mean anything to me because I've never been to Albuquerque at that point. But I was like, trying to kind of like spy on him. But the problem is that a lot of his friends at the time were doing the same thing to him. And he was like, oh, hell no. Because he's like not a drama person. And so he was like, I am not going to enter or feed into that. So he's like, I'm just going to delete my Snapchat. And so all of a sudden I was like, oh no.
You're like, don't delete it. Why am I going to keep seeing you?
No. And so all of a sudden, then we migrated to talking through WhatsApp and other, stuff. But it's funny because like the same way you were telling us how he's wise with you and telling you all those things. Joshua has been the same to me. And I wanted to dive more into your confidence because, you are a confident woman and you have all the rights to be because you're beautiful, you're successful in everything that you do. But for me, I wanted to ask you, and then maybe I'll share my experience after. But what made you so confident in life? Is it the way you grew up? Is it did your parents somehow, or by the actions or their words, build that confidence in you, or did you build it up yourself? Can you tell us a little bit more?
I think it had to do my parents and me. Like just, my parents were always telling me that I was so pretty. My family, that I was pretty and that I was smart and that, that I was just so friendly to everybody. And I feel like I started believing that myself, that I was all of these things. So then that just kept on going and going. And now it's like been a journey, like after having 2 babies. Like it's been, hard to feel the same way that I felt before having babies because like a lot of things change, not only like physically, but like mentally, like, your responsibilities are more, you have more things to do. And so I feel like my parents, and I want to say my husband is like my number one supporter now. My parents used to build me up a lot, and my family, like my aunties, used to build me up a lot, and now even my aunties and my parents still do, but my husband now does. He's such a good like number one fan. Like when people say like really like my husband's my number one fan, like I really do believe like my husband's my number one fan because like he really does support anything I do, and like whenever I am doubting myself, like he's very like, but you need to look at all these good things you do, but you need to see like what you have been doing right. He's very like that. And every time that I'm like feeling down or I'm not feeling like myself, he just like makes sure I remember like all the good things about me, and I like bash out the negative, and like he's just so good. Even after like being married, like we've been married, I want to say for like 4 years now, and even now like he'll surprise me with like flowers, chocolates. Like he's just so good and very nice, and like I truly genuine feel like he wants like the best for me. And he's my husband's like such like a person that's like, I could literally say that he's not like self-centered. Like we're both very like Catholic, me and him, and it says like that you're supposed to put like your partner first. My husband, I truly feel like he really does put me first. Like if I'm not feeling well, like he will literally take the kids on without hesitating, without feeling bad. Like even after shifts that he's worked like 12 hours, like he doesn't mind like coming home and like if I haven't showered the kids, like showering them or putting them to bed because they haven't gone to bed. Like I've never seen my husband complain about having to do anything for our family. Nothing. Like it doesn't matter if he worked 2 hours or if he worked 12 hours. Like he's always there. And whenever I have like problems, even if it's like my social media controversies or that I feel bad that something went wrong with like an employee or something, like he's very good about like, no, like you did the right thing. Or if I didn't do the right thing, he's also very like honest about it and says like, hey, like you didn't do this right, but just next time you need to do it differently. Like there's nothing we can do now. He's very good about that, which seems like Josh has like a very personality like that too.
Yeah, similar. It's funny because when I first moved here, so growing up wasn't easy in the sense that I was criticized a lot, even in my own family. And my family has always been a lot about weight and how you look. And so I haven't shared anything on social media for a long time, on my personal social media, because it's been, at some point I had to say enough, because every time I would share, I would first of all like think probably 130 times before sharing, because I was like, okay, but wait, I look a little fat in this one, or I don't look too good, or my hair doesn't look good, or this and that, or the smile is weird, and or my face looks chubby. And when I moved, and so I've really never had a whole lot of confidence in myself. And even circling back to what we were saying earlier, it's funny because when I was in high school, I would just like put so much makeup on because of acne, but not just that, because I just didn't feel comfortable in my skin. So I felt like I was kind of hiding behind it. So I wasn't using makeup to make me beautiful. I kind of thought I would, but it was more like kind of hiding. And when I moved here, I was so like, yeah, I didn't have any confidence in myself, to the point that I was doubting my relationship with Joshua, because I was being jealous, and I was just, I would telling him all the time, like, what are you doing with me? Like, oh, I'm so big, I'm so fat, this and that. And at some point he sat me, I always remember, he sat me on the bed and he was like, you have to stop. That's enough. That's enough, he said, because you're going to just break our relationship. Because all those things, if I cry, it's okay. He said, all those things you're saying about yourself, I don't see you that way. And he said, you are so beautiful. You're not just beautiful physically. You have such a beautiful, I don't mean to throw myself flowers, but it feels weird to say it to myself. But it was like, you're a beautiful person, and I care about you because you're a caring person and all that. And he was saying all those nice things, and he was like, and that's how I see you. So every time you're saying that you're fat or you're ugly or this and that, you're just like, I can't think of verbatim how he told me, but like between the lines, he was saying, well, you're just disrespecting me. You're just spitting on everything that I think about you. And so he said, don't, you have to stop doing that. And so he helped me build myself and my confidence and stuff. And I'm still, it's still a work in progress, but now that we have a son, it's hard too, because, I'm still like that on pictures a little bit, like looking at myself and I'm like, ugh, but it's okay. I'm sharing, because we have this family app. We don't share anything about my son on social media, but we have a family app. And so,
yeah.
And we do that. But I'm still have moments where I'm like, I don't want to share that because I don't look good. And he looks at me and he's like,
come on, we talked about
this. Not again. But then also now we're seeing it in a completely different angle, because he's like, how are we going to raise our son?
Yeah.
Do you want our son to hear you say that you're ugly when he's never going to think you're ugly because you're his mom and and it's like, or do you want him to believe he's ugly? And he's the most handsome son in the world.
He is very handsome.
But, and so it's like, and now, because I grew up with a lot of comments on my physique and on all that, I know that I broke something in me growing up, and I don't want that for my son. But I also don't want to do the opposite. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want him to be super cocky or whatever.
Yeah.
We talked about it with Joshua, and I think what we want to do, but it's easier said than done, of course, but we want to not make a subject of it. So yes, we'll tell him he's handsome and stuff, but we don't even want to make it something that he has to think about. Yeah. It's more like
something natural.
Yes.
It's just part of life. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want him to focus on, do I look a little like chubby in this shirt, or do I need to wear oversized, or do I need to wear puffy sleeves so that I don't show my big arms? I'm just like, oh my God.
I once heard a comment that I think will help you a lot, because it helped me as a mom. I read it in a mom book that said, like, if you have nothing nice to say about somebody's physique, like especially like your daughter or your son, just don't say nothing at all. Just don't say it. Like, especially when they're hitting like their teenage years. Mm-mm. Like, if you don't think that the shirt looks good, just don't say that the shirt doesn't look good. I think like an approach would be like, hey, like, I think I saw this black shirt in your closet and it looks so good on you. You should try that one on instead. Like, let's see how it looks with that outfit. Like, and I think being in a Latina household, like, we also have very high standards of beauty, like, and your body. And my mom did make comments about my physique growing up, but I never think it was in a way to hurt me. I always think it was in a way to make me better. That's the way that I try to see it. Because there was like, when I was like 14, 15, like I wasn't 15. I was like 12, I want to say. Yeah. I gained a lot of weight, and my mom was very like, she never said like, you're fat. She just said, we need to cut out the Coke. We need to cut out the carbs. We're just going to focus on protein, water. And like within like 3 months, I think I was back to my weight. But she never was like, yeah, you look really bad. Like you look, no.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think with Regina, you don't have a daughter yet.
No,
Maybe in the future you will.
will.
But even having a daughter now, like I always tell my parents and my husband and anybody that's really close to us, because they tell me a lot, like, she's feisty and she's this. And I'm like, yes, she is a feisty girl and she's going to know that she's feisty, but just don't like make that like her personality, because she is a feisty girl. But if you keep hearing that over and over, that you're feisty and you're feisty, like you're going to develop that into your personality. And people tell me like, oh, she's going to be gorgeous and she's tall and she's going to be thin. And I'm like, well, that's not all of it, you know, like,
right.
And they tell me that too of my son, that he's so handsome and he's going to be such a lady killer. And I'm like, I don't want to be like hearing that all the time, because they do make that their personality, and I don't think it's good for like. And I even then, like, I have two, a little cousin and a niece, and they're 14, 15, so they're in that age where they really compare themselves to everything, like to all these celebrities, and I have to ground them all the time. Like I tell them, I'm like, that's not natural. Like they don't have that butt naturally. They don't have that waist naturally. They don't have that nose naturally. And one of my niece has a really bad like nose problem, and she's just waiting till she's 18 to like, she's gorgeous. Like she's such a gorgeous girl, but the nose is like a confidence like problem for her. And I remember she told me once, she's like, well, I wish I had your nose. And I told her, well, I did my nose. I paid for my nose. And I'll be open about it. I'll never lie about things that I did to myself. Like, I'll always say, like, if you want to know anything, like, I'll tell you, like, yes, these are my teeth. No, I did my nose. This is what I did. Like, because I don't want people to see me, especially my niece and my cousin, and think, like, oh, she did that naturally. And then have those expectations for themselves naturally, and that won't happen. And so I told her, I was like, well, I paid for this nose. And whenever your mom allows you, I will help you pay for a nose like this, and we can go and get it done, and I will be there for you. Like, but just don't think that this is naturally, because I didn't do my nose until I was like 23, or no, it was 24. So I was like, so don't think that this is like a thing. Yeah. You know, so I think it's so important, like, to be careful with our words with people, right? Especially like our kids, so that they don't grow up with those problems that we might have grown up with.
No, I agree. And see, like, I think I want to say this in every episode, but I watched something on and I forgot. I was gonna check it for this episode, I didn't. But it was, so basically, I love watching true. I can't say crime. It. Yes, thank you. And in this case, like this girl was, she thought she was gonna hang out with a guy, and they were in a high school, and the guy ended up tricking her, and like another guy from the school met them, and they kind of like, you know, they shot her in the back of the head. Long story short. And so she survived, and she woke up, and she's like, she's amazing, but she's growing flowers, and she was saying to the camera, and that really touched me like really hard. It was, she was saying, you know, you see a rose, it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful flower, and you see a sunflower, it's also really beautiful, but they don't look nothing alike. And she said, look at your neighbor, they're beautiful, and you're beautiful, you don't look nothing alike, but you're both beautiful. And that kind of like clicked something in my head, where I was like, yeah, you know, we're all beautiful in our own ways. And whatever makes us feel better, that it's makeup or no makeup, or, you know, curly hair or straight, or I don't know, no matter what makes you more comfortable in your skin, like, or your nose, I think you have to do it. And I feel like there's a lot of taboo also behind people that want to go on certain medication to lose weight, or do surgeries. Yeah. And I'm like, as long as you're okay with it and it helps you build your confidence, go for it. Of course, I mean, there is always like limits to it, and but I feel like nowadays, if you're not natural, if you don't show yourself on social media with no makeup and you don't look beautiful, then you're not beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, I don't agree. Like, I see a lot, like I follow a lot of like women on social media that like show themselves like bare face, and then they have like a full coverage, and they have like beautiful, I wish I could do my makeup like that. Like bright colors and beautiful, and like, full coverage on the foundation and stuff, and people are like, oh my god, but yeah, because she looks so ugly without it. And it's like, no, like, again, if you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything.
Yeah, like, and it's funny, I don't know, like, I feel like everybody's beauty standards are different, like,
Also.
so, but I just, yeah, when it comes to like critiquing people on their physique, and my mom got a BBL at like 40, she was like 48. And she literally is so confident, so happy in her body. Like, she literally says that she regrets not doing it earlier.
There we go.
And she feels amazing, and she looks amazing. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, and I'm all for that too. Like, I will never criticize somebody because they got a BBL, because they're on Ozempic, because they're whatever you want to do that makes you feel good.
Just
go
do
for
it.
it. Like, but don't be miserable and like getting it out on people because you don't like the way that you look, or because you're not happy with yourself. Like, work on yourself. Like, if you don't like that, there's so many things you can do, like I have friends that don't need a physical boost, they need a mental boost, and they go to like psychologist, and I'm like, good for you. Like, do whatever you need to do to make you feel better. And I'm so lucky that, because Latino men can be a little bit of like, I want to, in Spanish you say machistas, which means like,
Muy macho. We
yeah,
say that in French too.
yeah, they don't want like you to do anything that they don't approve of and stuff. So I'm so lucky that my husband has always told me, like, babe, when you are done having your babies, like, we're done with our family, and you say like, this is good, whatever you want to do, I'll be here for you. Like, if you want to go on Ozempic, go on Ozempic. If you want to get a BBL, which most likely that will happen, and I'm so honest about it, like, that will happen. Like, I will do whatever it takes to like make me feel good. And obviously, I do believe that working out, eating healthy, like, that's important too. But once you have kids, like, mom to mom, we know that there's things that like won't be in place no matter what you do. Like, you can like work out and you can eat really healthy, drink your water, drink your teas, whatever you need to do. But there's just skin that won't change with anything. There's like a belly button that won't be the same, and like, that's okay. Like, some people are okay with it. I personally, like, it bugs me, but I don't want to do anything about it until I decided that we don't want any more babies, or that we're going to take a pretty big break between like having babies. But right now my babies are super young, and we do want more. So it's not in my plan right now, but I do see it in my 5-year plan that somewhere in there it's going to happen.
There we go. But see, talking about, maternity and pregnancy, I was going to ask you, after I only have one for now, but we hopefully, you never know. The future is maybe soon we'll have another baby. After I gave birth, the first 2 weeks, I feel like I wasn't prepared for the postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And it hit me so hard. It was so hard. I could literally feel the kind of like, when you feel the contractions come in, I could feel the wave of like thoughts and like, pressure. And it was like, a really hard 2 weeks. And then after that, it was a little better. But I was going to ask your experience after having 2 babies. Did you experience anything like that? Or, I mean, personally, like the rest of the pregnancy, I loved being pregnant. I feel like if I could spend the rest of my life pregnant,
perfect. I mean, people are so nice to you, huh? When you're pregnant, I feel like people are so nice because they're like, oh, like, she's pregnant, like she has a baby and she should rest and she should, like, people are just so nice when you're pregnant. Like, yeah, I agree. But I feel like I didn't get postpartum depression with Regina, with my first baby. I didn't. I was like about 5 months after, I was just sad that my body had changed so much because I always worked really hard on my body, and I used to work out a lot, and I was very proud of my body. You can even see it on like my Instagram posts like in the past. And then it changed quite a bit after that, obviously. And with Sebastian, with my second baby, I did get more of a postpartum depression, like right about like 3 months, I want to say 4 months. And that was harder because I was like already two babies, and I feel like it came a lot from a place of being overwhelmed, being a mom to two babies, and then having the businesses, and like I'm the type of person that I literally gave birth both times and pulled out my laptop within an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the restaurants depend that much on me.
Right.
Like everything I do. Like right now I'm delegating a lot so that in the future I don't have to go through that again. But the last two pregnancies, like I was literally learning how to breastfeed, and like I was with my laptop in one hand and my baby in the other, and I was working from home the whole time that I was on like postpartum. Like I was never just like a day where like I was like I'm gonna rest, except for like the first week, I think. And I would still pull out my computer to answer emails, to go on schedules, and be able to see that my employees had everything that they needed. So I think that also caused like my postpartum depression, because I felt like I wasn't being a good mom because I wasn't fully present. And so, and I think everybody's experiences are different.
Yeah.
And you know, it's something that I feel like I'm so proud of our society that talks more about it.
Yes.
And we're learning how to take care more of moms that are giving birth. And I'm so happy that out of all of my really close friends, I was the first one to have a baby. So I'm like, I can really guide them and show them like how to get through the ropes, and I prepare them too for like things they might come up with. So it makes me really happy to be able to be in this journey first and being able to be there for them.
Yeah, and I think pregnancy looks really good on you too.
Thank you.
And I mean, that's all I wish for you for the future too. And it's funny because you're an only child. Meanwhile, you want a big family. And where does that come from?
Because I feel like I was an only child, and I don't want my kids to be an only child. And I, you know, I love big Christmases. I love, you know, big Thanksgiving, big vacations. And I really want, like, in the future for my husband and I to just be able to have everybody home. And all my kids to come home with their significant others and their kids. And you know, I just really want like that big experience, because right now, well, it's just me, and I'm so happy that my husband has a big family. And so I get to, my kids get to experience that with them too, but also my mom's side of the family. But I just really want like a big family, and maybe I want between 4 to 5 kids.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see what God has in store for me.
And see, I feel the same way, and it's funny because I always said that I wanted 5 kids, and after having my son, I remember when I just given birth to him, I was like, 1 is nice.
You're like, that's good.
But then you forget the pain, you forget everything you go through, and now we're like, oh, we're in the.
You really do forget everything.
You forget.
Yeah.
I remember though. I remember like, you know, the shaking and the thing that I thinking I was gonna die. But you know, you don't remember
the majority.
Yeah.
I feel like you remember like bits and pieces, because I remember like bits and pieces,
right.
But if I like truly think about it, I'm like, I would do that all over again to have him here. Like I don't care. Like my 2 babies are just like amazing. I love them, and I would go again 10 times when I went through to have them. So, yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, let's see. We might do the cards really quick, and then the question. So I have 2 piles, and I would like you to pick a card, one card in each pile. So this one is expression pile. Okay. So it has like a bunch of expressions, and then you can pick one and see if it means anything to you, or if it brings any memory or any. And then this one is a life question. And so kind of same, pick one, and then we can talk a little bit about it.
Okay. So this is the. Okay. So this one says, "Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going." I feel like that has a lot to do with me, because I'm always like watching the clock and trying to get everything done, and making sure I'm meeting all my goals and expectations for myself. So that's a really good advice. You just gotta. I feel like my husband tells me that all the time. Like, keep doing you at your pace. So, yeah.
Nice. And I feel like you do that a little bit too by, also putting timers for yourself and kind of like getting yourself going. And so,
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
And then this one, you said it was, so life question, what is a lesson you learned the hard way? That's a good one. That's a really good one. I guess the lesson that I learned the hard way was that I don't always have to be right about things.
Okay.
And I also have to let people make their own mistakes. And I feel like that came from a place where I wanted to control every aspect of the restaurant. And I obviously, like, in the way, like, I had my bumps where not everything can be perfect. And I can't, convince, like, my parents to do every single thing that I want to implement. Even though I feel like that's, like, the best thing, everything will come with time. So I feel like I had to learn that through, like, fights and like, having to trip and fall and then get back up. And so I definitely learned that I don't have to be right about everything, and I just have to go with the flow, and sometimes I just need to suggest things, and if things are not going to go my way, it's fine. And if it is to be my way, it will eventually find its way there, because it has happened. Suggest it and it doesn't happen, and then 3 months later it happens, and I'm like, I was right. I just needed to wait for the right time.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And then we have Josh's question right here for you. And his question is, what has been the most difficult obstacle you have been faced with on the professional level? Which kind of like gets closer to that question too.
So that one's pretty, so when I'm trying to grow the restaurants, I try to do a lot of education and just trying to learn what's the best for my team, for the restaurants. And I think the hardest thing is that I'm a woman, and sometimes I'm in rooms where there's majority men. And then if it's not just men and there's other women, they're usually older. So, and I'm usually seen as like, and I go to these things mostly alone too, to like get educated, and I go to these seminars, and I try to meet with people and learn from them, and really take advantage of all the companies, like all the food providers, the alcohol companies that when they hold seminars and stuff. And it's always like, I feel like I'm being seen as like the pretty girl that doesn't know anything in there. So like, have you seen Elle Woods? Do you know who Elle Woods is? From Legally Blonde, where she goes to Harvard, and nobody believes in her, and people see her like she's dumb.
Right.
I feel like that's a lot. That happens to me a lot when I'm walking into a room, until people like start talking to me, and sometimes I'm even like intimidated to talk to them, because usually like this past week I met so many like CEOs of big companies that I use, like for my scheduling company, my online provider for the restaurant. And it's just like these people that are like multimillionaires, and like they have built these really good platforms for restaurants. And I was so like, wow. And I was so sad, because I met a lady that was giving a really good presentation, that she came from Texas to give the presentation, and she had such a good presentation. I just want to talk to her more. But then she was older, and a lot of people were trying to talk to her, a lot of men, and I was just like, I feel like I was definitely the youngest in the room, and I feel like I was, I don't know, like the black sheep, because none of the women there, except for that lady that I really wanted to talk to, looked like me. Most of them, they were more older, and they didn't look Latinas, and I was the only Latina that was makeup done and hair done and heels on at 8 a.m. in this seminar, and all these men were there. So I feel like that's the biggest obstacle, and I feel like that's an obstacle I'm going to keep on meeting with for a while, because I'm going to keep doing these
Oh,
events
yeah.
and I'm going to keep growing and I'm just going to have to deal with it, you know, and learn how to cope with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as women we go through that way too much, and then it's so unfortunate because out of all that crowd, you would probably have been the one that would have taken her advice, like, you know, that would have deserved that advice so much, and you know, or it's just the conversation would have like helped you in your journey more than all those men that probably just were there to like tag along, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And she's coming again to another seminar, and I've literally made it my
Nice.
goal. I'm like,
There
I
we go.
have to. I have to talk to her. I'm not leaving that 8-hour seminar without talking
Yes,
to her.
yes. Well, I think it's time for us to leave. But you know what? I think we're due for a part 2 maybe, because I think that there's way more things that we need to talk about that we didn't get to this time. But I wanted to thank you again for coming to my podcast. And it was really fun to learn to know you a little more. And I feel like now, can I call you Ari now?
Yes, you can always call me
Yes.
Ari. I prefer when people call me Ari. I feel when they call me Aritza, I'm like in trouble. Because I'm like, my parents have always called me Ari. And when I was in trouble, they're like, Aritza. So
Aritza.
I prefer for people to call me Ari. All my employees call me Ari. So
Well, thank you so much, Addie, for coming today. And I hope we can maybe do a part 2. And I hope to be part of your life for a long time. And so I know you need to go back to your babies. I need to go pick up my baby at daycare too.
Okay.
So, well, do you want to say anything before we go?
No, I just had a really good time. Thank you for having me on your podcast. And yeah, if we need to have a part 2, we'll have a part 2.
I know. Well, thank you so much for watching. And please, if you want to be part of this podcast and come and tell your story, send me a DM or an email at marie+you@gmail.com. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.